And we are live. Hey, everybody, this is Roberto Blake helping you create something awesome today. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be talking all about content strategy. One of the reasons that more than 90% of content creators fail, and I know that's a very daunting number, but 90% of content creators actually never get to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. That's like a real thing. There's data on this in a lot of companies, case studies, Social Blade, etc. But it's actually really difficult for the overwhelming majority of people to get to 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. And so what I want to do today is break down actual content strategy, how to do it. We're going to actually look at some things in YouTube analytics, but I also want to share something with you that I created recently in terms of kind of a framework to help you understand this and how you can improve as a content creator. So like most content creators, need and hear constantly from everybody, whether it's myself or a larger creator like Mr. Beast, about how you need to become 1% better every upload and 1% better every day. And a lot of people say that's nice, but they don't know where to improve. And so there's a philosophy, an Eastern philosophy from Japan called Kaizen. A lot of you have heard me and Chris Do and others talk about Ikigai, but you haven't heard us talk about Kaizen. And so Ikigai is finding your purpose and your reason for being and helping you figure out what you're passionate about, what people will reward you for in terms of an audience, what will be profitable, and what you're actually good at, and kind of dealing with the intersection of those things. And that's really great for actually helping you get clarity about your content and your purpose and what you're supposed to do. But in terms of self-improvement as a content creator, value, quality, strategy, and impact are 4 areas for self-improvement. So in terms of value, you need to be able to communicate and demonstrate the value to your audience, your content. And so that a lot of that is things like when you write your titles, that communicates the value. When you do your thumbnails, that communicates the value. The clarity in terms of what your content is, the consistency of that content, of talking about the same things, reaching the same audience, your ability to identify that audience, your ability to know what that audience values and what they care about. Value is what the viewer will click on. That's like kind of basically how we can sum up value in terms of content creation. Is value is what the viewer is interested in. Value is what the viewer will give attention to. Value is what people will click on. For example, the value for you all is that you want to become content creators. You want to earn money from content creation, either as a side hustle. You want to be a full-time content creator. You want to use content maybe to grow a business or a personal brand. So value is important to communicate. Quality is the experience you have. Quality is production, performance, and personality. So what does that mean? Well, with production, that one's obvious. Lights, camera, audio, all being good, all being on point, a good experience there. Performance is the way someone delivers on camera. Personality is storytelling. Personality is storytelling, and that is structure, that is editing, that is all those type of things. And it's also style. It's style. You could put personality down to style, structure, and storytelling. So that part of quality: style, structure, and storytelling. The 3 S's: style, structure, and storytelling. So that's what personality would look like. In terms of performance, performance is your charisma, your confidence on camera, and your communication and ability to communicate and connect with the audience. So that would actually matter quite a bit. And then obviously in terms of production value, lights, camera, audio is basically the gist of it. So we understand value and quality, and those are 2 radically different things. And a lot of people take that for granted. And then in terms of strategy, what a lot of you struggle with, and that's why we're going to talk about content strategy today. What a lot of you struggle with is you don't know what to make for your audience. You don't know what to make for your audience. So you struggle with strategy. Okay. You don't know what they will respond to. You don't know what they want from you. And we've done a lot of analytics deep dives to kind of help get into that. Okay. And then with strategy, a lot of you don't know how much content you should be making. And then you don't know how often you should be posting. And what I'm going to talk to you today about is a strategy for making your next 100 videos. We're going to break down a strategy for making your next 100 videos. That's kind of where we're going with this, is a strategy for 100 videos. And we're going to break that down, and we're going to kind of build that out, and we're going to figure out what you're making. And when I say 100 videos, typically what that looks like for most people is you want to post 100 videos in a year. We'll talk about why. And you want to be very strategic, thoughtful, and specific about the videos you're making, who they are valuable to, why people would watch them, and so on and so forth. We want to balance some of those with evergreen content and trends. So we want to definitely talk about that. And we also want to make sure we're strategically positioning this so that we can maintain the quality of the content, because there's strategies to maintain the quality of the content. Okay. And then we need to understand who our audience is and what creates value for them. So we need to be thinking strategically there so that we can properly influence them. And we also need to strategically be thinking about monetizing and how we can do that effectively. And when you see the overlapping rings here, if you can create high value content, you know what your audience wants, what they care about, and then you can deliver quality, you'll have high impact. If you're doing that, you can definitely make a substantial income from AdSense and from sponsorship brand deals. That's what a lot of people tend to do. However, if you create high value content, very high value content, but maybe your content's average in quality, but you're very strategic about what you're doing, and you also tie that to a really strong monetization strategy, you can do innovation and you can create solutions in terms of products and services, or a membership community that goes around the value that the audience wants, a strategy that really is great in terms of getting them invested in something that they are willing to directly pay for. So you could innovate there in terms of your business. And Miss Houston is right. If you could, if you're in the live instead of the replay, if you're not watching the replay and you're here live, put a Q in front of your question to make it easier for me to find your answer, and so that I can star them with StreamYard, and that will make my life easier. I'll be able to keep track of them. I'll be able to circle back and answer them. So that will help considerably. And then also, speaking of sponsors, we have a couple of sponsors that I'd like to go ahead and shout out. I want to say thank you to my good friends at StreamYard, who make the easiest live streaming solutions in the world, which is why I can be on YouTube right now, live streaming on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn Live all at once. 5 places all at once, not hurting my YouTube views, making it easy for me to do my presentation, control, and do my sound effects, my background music, all the things that I'm wanting to do. So thank you to our friends at StreamYard. And also thank you to our good friends over at TubeBuddy for also making it easier for me to use tools like Find Replace and go back and update all of my links and all of my affiliate links and things like that. With the push of a button, I can update 1,000 videos with links that pay me money. So thank you to our friends at TubeBuddy. They have a lot of great tools under their umbrella. No, they're not just a YouTube SEO tool. No, they're not just for getting you more views. The best thing for TubeBuddy is actually all the productivity hacks that you get out of TubeBuddy and the A/B testing on thumbnails. And we'll talk about thumbnail strategy later here today, because when we talk about strategy and we talk about what I'm showing you here with Kaizen, there are a lot of things that you can work on, because in your strategy and in self-improvement in these areas, we can work on better titles, which we will do today in our live stream workshop. We'll talk about how to make title formulas. We'll talk about how to make content buckets. And we're going to talk about thumbnail design and thumbnail strategy, because I think that these are massive areas for improvement for the far majority of you. I think if more of you can improve in these areas, that your content is going to perform much better than if you don't. And I think that also building a system and a strategy, something that would really help more of you, is if you built a system and a strategy around making your thumbnails so that you're not just like winging it every time you have to make a video. That's actually a problem for a lot of you, is a lot of you don't have a strategy. And that's a big part of your problem, is you don't have a strategy. You're doing everything from scratch every time you have to make a video. You don't have a strategy, and you don't have a system that makes everything easier and streamlined. And so when you have strategy and you have systems in place, your life as a content creator is going to be easier, And for all of you who are working class content creators who have a full-time job and still want to make content, you need systems and strategy so that you don't waste your time, because a lot of you don't have a lot of it. Most of you watching this right now, y'all have maybe 15 to 25 hours a week of free time to work on your content. And that's it for most of you. That's it for most of you based on what we've learned and based on my surveys, right? And I'll go back at some point this week and I'll post my mega survey for content creators in the community tab for people who want to check that out. I'll also probably send it out in this week's newsletter, which will go out on Tuesday. But a lot of you, one of your big problems is you struggle and you don't have enough time to make your content because you're doing everything from scratch every single time instead of having systems that are streamlined to save you time and strategies to make sure that you're heading in the right direction. So that's why, when I break down this, with Kaizen, and something else that I want to show you with this is that when you really are focused on like value, strategy, and monetization, you have a optimized, content play. When you focus on strategy, quality, and monetization, it can be wildly profitable. When you focused on the quality, the value, and a strategy, you're making the most unique content possible. And when you are focused on value and quality and monetization, it's performance-based, which means that's more for ad revenue and brand deals. But when you can master all four of these to the appropriate degree, that's what the biggest content creators do. The biggest and most successful content creators who go beyond mid-tier, the people who go like from 500 to 100 to 1 million subscribers. See, what a lot of you need to realize is that content creators who get to like maybe 10,000 are like good at one of these, right? Content creators who get to like 10,000, they're good at one of these. Content creators who go from 10,000 to, let's say, 50,000, they get really good at two of these, and they're average at best at the other two. They're average at best at two of these, and they're actually really good and proficient at two, and that'll get you from 10,000 to 50,000 subscribers. To get to, let's say, 100,000 subscribers, you have to actually be pretty good at least three of these at the same time to get to 100,000 subscribers. But the people who get to 1 million subscribers, they're masters of all four of these, and that's why they get to 1 million subscribers. So I hope seeing this diagram, this Venn diagram around self-improvement with Kaizen as a content creator, Kaizen for content creators, this is actually a really good mental model and framework for you guys. And what I'm going to do is, I think I can make this full screen. If you want to screenshot this right now, now is your time. So just go ahead and screenshot it. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of time real quick to do that. All right, you guys should have had some time to screenshot that there. So, when we talk about this, and we have T's hot mess history here, T actually did a one-on-one coaching call with me. And her channel is very, very successful. And I'm not surprised that she feels she's very good at three of these, because T has over 100,000 subscribers. In fact, T, how many subscribers are you at right now? Because you were at, maybe, I think when we worked together, I think you were at 30K subscribers. I think you were at like 30K subscribers when we started working together. Maybe it was a little bit more. And I think you're well over 100,000 now. In fact, let's see. Yeah, you're at 115,000 right now with your channel. So you feel like you're good at three of these, let's say. Yeah. So I would really be curious about what of the four you think you're not good at. In fact, I'd actually love to know what most people think they struggle with out of these four. I'd actually love to know what people struggle with out of these four. And T is a good case study, because with T, she's good at three of these and she's at 100,000 subscribers. So that's what we're talking about. And to some degree, yes, assessing this can be subjective, but there's objective ways to also look at it as well. and to rate yourself and to rate yourself. And I think that's another thing creators struggle with, is kind of being honest with themselves about where they stand when it comes to this. So for me, I feel that I'm actually very good, very good, like highly proficient, maybe a 4 out of 5 to a 5 out of 5 at strategy. And because, to be real with y'all, because I make multiple six figures as a content creator, I make over 300,000 a year on average over the last couple of years, at least for the last 4 years. I think I've made over $250,000 a year on average. Best year was like, I think 400K. Last year was over 300K. I think 2020 was the first 300K year, something like that. I think that I can say that I am a 4 out of 5 to a 5 out of 5 on the monetization piece. I think I can say that with certainty. I feel like I can say that I'm a 4 out of 5, if not a 5 out of 5 on strategy overall. I'd say maybe a 4 out of 5, to be honest, somewhere between a 3.5 to a 4 out of 5. I think on strategy, I think there's still room for me to improve. On quality, I think that depends, but I would probably, on quality, in terms of when we look at personality, which is style, structure, storytelling, we look at audio, lighting, video, and then we look on camera performance. I give myself maybe a 3.5 out of 5 rating on quality. I think that there are extremes in quality that start the beginning of a 5 out of 5. And I don't think 5 out of 5 starts with Mr. Beast, by the way. I don't think 5 out of 5 starts with Mr. Beast. I think that 5 out of 5 quality is someone in your niche. The quality of a 1 million subscribed channel in your niche is kind of like a 5 out of 5 there. So when I look at the beginning of, well, what's a 5 out of 5 on quality? I'd probably say that at this point, Colin and Samir are a 5 out of 5 on quality. Think Media are a 5 out of 5 on quality for what the type of content I make is. So I would give myself, maybe compared to them, maybe a 3.5 in that area. And then in terms of value is about clarity. And that's largely measurable to some degree relative to views. And I feel like I struggle more on value being clear, and that's the area I could make more clear to my audience and get the higher amount of views for the type of content I make. I feel like who does very well with the value being extraordinarily high, and I feel somebody who also gets quality extraordinarily high and right would probably be Ed from Film Booth. In my niche, I would say, in terms of helping content creators, I would say that's Ed from Film Booth, and I would say that's Colin and Samir. And so I would, and again, rating yourself is largely about what is normal in the niche that you are in. Don't compare it to me. Don't compare it to Mr. Beast. Don't compare it to Eric. It's about what about the niche that you're in. Okay. So just kind of keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And I feel that there are people that have maybe a smaller audience or even less experience than me that are capable of higher degrees of quality in terms of where they help content creators, where their quality of the content aesthetically and what that is. And then in terms of the value that's in the content, I think that the content itself I make is very valuable, but I think that I disconnect with the audience on what they value and what the content is sometimes. So that's where I still feel I can improve. Everyone can probably improve to some degree. And so for me, since I'm not at 1 million subscribers, I look at it from the place of closing the gap between me and someone at 1 million subscribers. If you're a small YouTuber, let's say, and you're at 1,000 subscribers, your measurement of this should be in comparison to someone at 10,000 subscribers. So I'm going to help you think more clearly about this. If you are a small YouTuber and you're watching this right now, in fact, actually in the chat right now, what I'd like you to do is tell me how many subscribers you have. Like, tell me, how many subscribers you have. And let's take a look at that, because what I want to do is I want to start with, well, what about from 1,000 to 10,000. Then we'll do 10,000 to 50,000. And then we'll do 50 to 100,000. And then we'll do 100,000 to 500,000. And then we'll talk about me with wanting to go from 500,000 to 1,000,000. And then I'll put it into context for you. So in the chat, let's see what we have here. We got my boy Curtis Malevolent Elephant with 132,000 subscribers. We've got Ivy Lily Creative with 10,000. We have a lot of you with less than 1,000, with 1,000 or less. We have a lot of you with 1,000 or less. We have quite a few of you that are between 1,000 and 10,000. So our real goal, a lot of you, is to focus on getting you to 10,000. We have No Parking Barry with 5,000. We have RPG Elite with 13K. Congratulations on that. Very difficult to do. We have Quasi with a different account, says he's at 12K. We have Art Observer with 23,000. So we have a variety. We have a variety of people here. Of course, we have T's Hot Mess History with 115,000. Again, congratulations. We got Candy Apple TV with 10,000. We got Miss Houston's Journey, Ms. Houston Journey with 73. Very new creator, I think. All right. We got Kadia with 7K. We got someone here. We've got Saronas with 56,000. We've got Bob with 17,000. So we have a variety. We have a variety of people. Oh, we've got Midnight Man here with 125,000. Congratulations. Got our boy, Andrew Can, the man, with 11,000. Good job. So we have a variety of people here. We have a variety of people here. So let's start, with kind of first things first. Let's start with, because I've made enough content to help a lot of you get to 1,000 subscribers if you're struggling. We could probably still talk about that a little bit later. But what I want to do right now is let's focus on the metrics. Let's focus on the journey. We want to get to 10,000 subscribers. And then from there, it's not the leap of 10,000 to 100,000. It's about going from 10,000 to 50,000. And then it's about going from 50,000 to 100,000. And then from 100,000, the game changes and you want to go to 500,000, about where I am. And then you want to go to 1,000,000. And so we have to have certain degrees of mastery over value, quality, strategy, and monetization in order to accomplish that. Now, where I think a lot of you should start, in this model is I think a lot of you should actually really start with refining what the value proposition of your channel is. And to help you with that a little bit in terms of, I want to show you what I'm looking at, because I had to change the value proposition of my channel multiple times over the years, because I still had to figure out, even after all these years, I had to figure out what is it I am trying to actually say and how effective am I at saying it, which I think is really difficult to do. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And what we're actually going to do is we're going to actually look real quickly at my YouTube channel, because I'm going to put it into perspective of showing you how I'm thinking of this. Okay. And why I had to change my direction a little bit. So I've been doing this for a very long time and I have almost 600,000 subscribers, but I've pivoted and changed my direction and evolved and refined my direction many, many times, which means that a lot of people that started with me aren't necessarily going to be with me now because the value for them changed. Remember what we said in our model with Kaizen? Value is what the viewer cares about. Value is what the viewer cares about. And then we get to impact and influence them when we align that to quality and strategy. So it's about what they want. So what I was giving people and what they want from me has changed over the years. But I was figuring out, I took forever to figure out that who I am trying to really serve is creative people who want to profit from their passion. They want to take things they're passionate about. They want to do them for a living. So they don't want to be starving artists. They want to do the things that they enjoy creatively and make money from them. Now, there are ways to do that. You can be a content creator on YouTube. You can be a live streamer. You can be a podcaster. You can build a personal brand and be a writer and a speaker. And a lot of times that's actually really good to be publish your own content, own everything, own your own IP. I avoid taking book deals now. I'm like, you know what? I want to own everything. Don't sell it to the record label. Don't sell it to the publishing company. So publishing, podcasting, and public speaking is a really good business model for some content creators. And you can do that around podcasting, right? Live streaming is a really good business model, and you could do that. It's one of the most profitable opportunities right now is live streaming, especially on YouTube channels. Live streaming on YouTube is one of the best monetization opportunities. You can build a personality around that, and you can live streaming, I think, lends itself better to some degree to making variety content. All right. And then in terms of being a video creator, let's say you're a content creator, I would say that streamers can be more influencers, let's say. But if you want to be a content creator who makes edited content, you want to be a content creator who makes edited content, you want to make video content for YouTube, TikTok, other platforms, maybe Instagram, Reels, maybe you're doing Rumble. You could be making content for a variety of things. If you want to be a video content creator, there's a business model and a strategy for that, and it can help you do a lot of things. It can help you grow a traditional business. You can start an online business. You could work with brands and do brand deals. You can make your own digital products. There's a lot of ways to monetize that. And so that becomes important because, when we talk about what's the value, you also have to connect value to monetization because you have to know here's what people will give their attention to. And that's one thing. Some creators really good at getting views, I know creators with 1 million to 4 million subscribers, mostly through YouTube Shorts, that struggle to make a full-time income and make ends meet because they struggle with monetization. They struggle to connect the value of eyeballs to the value of dollars. And that makes life really hard. That makes life really hard for content creators. So let me get to this super chat and then we'll break down a little bit more of this. So the KMH family, $9 super chat. Thank you. Roberto, thank you. You've been such a huge part of our journey to 246K in 4 years. Congratulations. New second channel at 4.3K. Can't even begin to thank you enough. You're always dropping real gems. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I couldn't ask for a better shout out than that. Could not ask for a better shout out than that. So this I think is really great. So when I look at my channel and I look at the concept of value, the value is changing, which is fine, but it does mean that it can create inconsistency in views. When your value isn't clear, your views are inconsistent. This is a lesson even I always have to reflect on and go back to. No content creator is too big to learn the lesson that if your value is unclear, your views will be inconsistent. So the value that people get from the content has to be abundantly clear. And so what I do is I'm trying to teach people about the creator economy. I'm teaching you how to basically become a full-time content creator through either video content creation that you edit, podcasting, live streaming, or writing. Building a personal brand around, and largely writing is a big part of that, which means having your own newsletter, having maybe published books. Like I'm a self-published author. I have my own book. I have my own website. I have my own newsletter and email list, etc. I control a large part of my personal brand that way without algorithms, because that's one of the other keys is some of this you might want to get away from algorithms. If you're someone who also is very sensitive about things like censorship, you might want to go more in one direction than the other, let's say, to have control. So what I found is lately, if you look at my views have been getting better and more consistent, especially through live streaming, because the value of my live streams is abundantly clear and the value of my live streams is very in line with a very specific audience and very specific goals. So when the value is clear, the views will be more consistent. So you can see that here. So these very long live streams, everyone keeps saying, oh, short form. Look at the views I'm getting on 3 and 4 hour videos. It's pretty substantial. So that's actually really good. Okay. And then in terms of some things, I feel that a lot of content creators don't realize that they are actually building an online business. For one thing, if you're a content creator, your business exists mostly online, and there are a lot of opportunities to monetize. So I use that to tell some of my own story and journey, and those are some of my more popular videos. So I do showcase those here. And one of the things about that is doing both of these, I'm also showing people some results. Hey, look at my most recent videos. In this case, it's been my live streams a lot. Hey, here are some previous videos that did really well with my audience. And these are videos that I feel tell my story more. They're older, but they tell my story. Hey, I know a lot of you want to start a YouTube channel. You want to start a successful YouTube channel. So what I do, I positioned some of my most effective content that says, hey, if you want to start a YouTube channel, look at this playlist of videos. This is what you want. So I tell people, you know what? You want to get 1,000 subscribers? Here you go. Use this strategy to grow in 2023. 0 to 50K subs. Here you go. How to start a successful YouTube channel. Real advice. How to be a full-time content creator. And these are fairly recent enough videos, by the way. This one's 7 months old. This one's 2 months old. This one's a year old. This one's 5 months old. And you can see the views here. So when the value is clear, the views are consistent. That is a lesson that even I struggle with because sometimes you want to make what you want to make, but it's not what people want to watch. When the value is clear, the views will be consistent. So we have to get our value clear. Who are we making videos for? What do those people value? What do they care about? What are they interested in right now? What do they want? And why do they want it? Okay, so who are we making videos for? What do they value? Why do they want to watch this? Why would a stranger watch this? Okay, how often are we going to upload? And where are we going to upload sometimes does matter as well. So, and when. And so we need to determine those things. Being a full-time content creator, most people become full-time content creators through brand deals and sponsored content, not through creator funds and not through ad revenue because they don't pay enough. And sometimes there are niches that are less profitable than others. So I tell you about brand deals. So that's a monetization piece, right, of being a content creator. How to edit videos faster. Time is the thing that makes it very hard for most creators, especially working class creators. Like I said, I know most of you have only 15 to 25 hours a week. What if I could help you edit your videos faster? So I decided to make tutorials and put out videos. I'm doing a series of these. I have a couple of them here that could help you with either specific techniques like green screen. Not all of you do green screen like I do, so that one's going to get less views. I don't have a problem with it. Some of you will or won't use Premiere Pro. I will do a best export settings for Final Cut Pro, by the way, and for some other software. How to create consistently. So like, the video editing series, I know it won't always get the most views, but that will get views for a very long time, forever. And because those stack views pretty regularly. Content creation in terms of the process. We talk about things like being confident on camera. So I have to tell you about the process of making your content. And then we have to help you with content strategy. And then, of course, you have to monetize, and there are different ways to monetize. And then for a lot of you, it also matters to build a personal brand. So what I did was I designed my channel layout to try to make the value at a glance on my YouTube channel as clear as possible. And when the value is clear, the views will be consistent. And also, the more clear I make the value, and I make that value clear with things like the topic, the title, the thumbnail, and the trend and timing also matter. So by doing those things, by focusing on topic, title, thumbnail, and timing includes trend, I can get the value proposition for the viewer clear, and value leads to views because that's how you decide what you're going to click on. And if I can get that clear, as you can see, when I can get that clear, views can be more consistent for me. When the value is not clear, the views will not be consistent. And that's what I'm learning. And that's something I decided to apply to myself. So that also demonstration, just outlining that, makes it abundantly clear for you guys that why you have to make sure that you know who you're making content for. And that's abundantly clear. Every time you choose a topic, it has to be for the same group of people, the same type of person. You are not niching down by topic. You are niching down by audience. You're niching down to an audience, okay? Not a topic. It is an audience. And the thing is, the topics you choose have to be consistent in their value and relevancy to the same group of people. So we all know that if you have a group of people, a group of friends, and they are very adamant and specific about a certain thing, you're not going to hit them up with something outside of that thing that they really like. Anyone here ever like participate in sports? You care about sports? You ever a sports fan? All right. It's like, if you're a Falcons fan, you probably ain't a Patriots fan. So don't show up with your group of Falcons fans wearing Patriots gear. You understand? That's why we niche down. We niche down to an audience because it's like these people are about this life. They're about this thing. They're about that life. They're about this thing. I am not going to go and insert something that they really ain't about into the conversation. That's how you have to think of it to a degree. So you're choosing a group when you're deciding to niche down. You're choosing a group of people to serve. Okay. And so that I hope makes some sense. That makes some sense. So Stephen asks, when do you recommend a pivot versus starting a new channel? It's an excellent question. This is a question that I could actually turn into its own video of like when to start a new YouTube channel, when to start a second YouTube channel. Both of those would probably be good. If you are, let's say you have a channel with less than 10,000 subscribers. If you have less than 10,000 subscribers, but probably less than 5,000 subscribers, let's say, if you have less than 5,000 subscribers, I would say that it's okay to pivot there, because where you pivot is if you're changing the group. If you're changing the group of people, if you're changing the audience, I might start a new channel. Now, with me, I feel that in the 3 years that I went from 0 to 100,000 subscribers, I didn't change the audience that much because what I did very, very, very early is I decided to add before I would subtract. I decided to add before I would subtract. So I added types of content to my channel, which may not work as well now as it did back then, for what I thought was close enough for an overlapping audience. Now, I want you to understand, my views were wildly inconsistent and have been wildly inconsistent over the years by many times up until recently, until like the end of the pandemic. My pivot is 2023 pivot to some degree. And after a post-pandemic pivot, for years, my views don't feel like what you would think a channel of my size should get, which is a problem for education channels in general versus entertainment channels. But a lot of that was because there was more than one audience and there was audience confusion. There was audience confusion for a very, very long time because of how many directions I pulled people in. And I had 3 to 4 different audiences. So because I had 3 to 4 different audiences instead of one audience, my views were very, very inconsistent. Now, I was making enough full-time money from everything I was doing to really, frankly, just not care. And my subscriber numbers were growing. So aside from like some people in the comments, razzing on me and trolling me about my views and the inconsistency of how many views I get, I mostly didn't care. Aside from a few hurt feelings over some comments, I didn't care because the money was really good. The overall subscriber count kept growing and growing and growing, and I was getting 10,000 a month. Now I'm at like 4,000 or 5,000 a month because I slowed down during the pandemic. I basically cut my uploads down by 75% during the pandemic. So I took massive hiatus during the pandemic, which is like, really cutting back for 3 years really hurts your momentum and your growth, or otherwise I'd probably have 1 million subs right now. But what I would say is because I had 3 or 4 audiences instead of, let's say, 1 or even 1.5, it was a problem in terms of making the views consistent because the value wasn't clear because I had more than one audience. So what I would tell all of you is that having one audience that you cater to makes your life much easier as a content creator, and it makes growth much more predictable, and it compounds your growth a lot faster over time than doing variety. if you're going to pivot, when you pivot, you sacrifice the momentum that you've already built. So if you're going to do it, it's better to do it early on. It's kind of like if you were going to change majors in college, it's better to do it before you're too deep. It's better to do it too deep before you're too deep. So the reason to pivot is that you have a completely different audience that you're trying to serve that doesn't overlap very well with the people you're already serving. And then if you're not at like 5,000, I think you could just pivot on the same channel, let's say. But if you're over that and if you're monetized, you may want to start a new channel. But the problem with is, why do you want to serve a different audience? And the reality is, a lot of times it's because you're bored. It's because you're bored or you're disinterested. So the thing is, I think it's important to get it right as quickly as you can the first time and pick something to make content around that you won't get bored with, that you won't get frustrated with, and that won't keep you broke. Which is why we talk about Ikigai. Right now, I know we're talking about Kaizen a lot. But one of the reasons we talk about Ikigai, which is instead of this here with Kaizen, we'd be talking about what you're passionate about, what you're actually good at, what is profitable and will pay you, and what there is an audience for, what there's demand for, what the world wants. Like, that is what we would be talking about if we were talking about Ikigai. So we'd go off that framework of passion, practical skills, profitability, and then the purpose of serving an audience. And so you'd want to try to get those things right as early as you can in your career. Not everyone does. It's really rough, Steven. So I can understand. So what I would say is, let's say you're an established channel. Pivoting is really hard for established channels, and you have to do it very incrementally and slow. And if it's a monetized channel or if it's your full-time income, you kind of have to suck it up and just deal with being bored or not liking the niche as much until you can replace that income or build up a second channel or a second brand or do something. You need runway. So it's kind of like, hey, what if I want to quit my job, or what if I want to change careers? You might need to secure the bag before you do that, or you might need to do it early in your career when it doesn't hurt as badly. So that's kind of my thought. I hope that helps. So John Ford says, quick question. I don't think you've made a video on, will suddenly changing your niche stop your videos from getting recommended? So here's something I haven't publicly told y'all or publicly said before. If you're going to do something, you need to probably get as close to 30 videos, somewhere between 10 to 30 videos deep on whatever you're doing, as quickly as possible. And you need to do that to where the quality is good enough. The quality needs to be good enough. But if you're going to do something, or you're going to talk about something, or you need to cover something, you need to get 10 to 30 videos deep on that subject matter as quickly as you can. And I'm going to show you something kind of with what I'm talking about. So when it comes to content, I want you to start to understand a little bit more about YouTube analytics, but I want you to also understand how to read these things. You might notice something. YouTube tells you your top content in a period, right? And it goes off of 10 videos, right? If you go to real-time analytics, YouTube's real-time analytics covers your last 20 videos. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Actually, no, wait. Actually, in this case, I think it's 30. Covers your last 30 videos. That's my bad. I think it's your last 30. So if YouTube is covering, to a degree, your last 30 videos in real-time analytics, and that's in real-time analytics. And then in terms of when it covers your top videos in a period, let's say, and it's doing that. And then under the content tab, it also covers like things like individual traffic sources, et cetera, et cetera. What I've figured out is this. What you'll want to do is, overall, you want to start not just analyzing the data that YouTube gives you, but you want to start analyzing how it presents the data, how it lays that data out, what it prioritizes top to bottom, left to right, because that tells you what's a priority. And you want to keep track of that, and not only what it measures, but how it measures it and how it displays it and how it puts it in front of you. So when I start to see, okay, YouTube is measuring this, or when I go to advanced mode and it covers content, it displays my top 50 results out of 5, and then it goes with export view up to 500 results. And so I want to show this real quick because it says top 50 results here with up to 500 results. You want to pay attention to how these tools and apps are designed and what information they give you and how much information they give you. You want to look at things like it says, 7 days, 28 days, 90 days, 65 days, so on and so forth. You want to start looking and paying attention to that because those tell you targets. Those give you targets to actually look at and to actually hit. And so when I see all of that, it starts to tell me a little bit more about what the system wants from me. It starts telling me more about what the system wants from me. So I'm going to answer your question. Will suddenly change your niche stop your videos from getting recommended? Those videos can only recommend relevant videos in your YouTube catalog and in other creators' catalog that are relevant to that topic, to that niche, to that audience, to that group of people. When you pivot and you change directions and you change your niche, you change your audience, you have to start over. And so now you have to start over and you have to make like 30 videos in one direction so that you have videos to recommend to each other that recommend each other and videos that work together and videos that boost each other. A high tide raises all ships. So you need to start making videos around the same topics that relate to each other in increments of 10, 30, and 50, in increments of 10, 30, and 50. So that my goal is if I'm going to cover something, I have to make a strategy that allows me to go like long term. My strategy is to go 50 videos deep on something long term. My short term is to go 10 videos deep on it. And my medium term is to go like 30 videos deep on it. And the reason I need to do that is because there's more than one way to cover something. So there's more than one way to cover something. So if I pick a subject matter in my mind, and let's talk about strategy. Let's talk about how to build content strategy. So in my mind, I need to pick something. And then I need to find, okay, I picked this thing, this audience that I care about, right? And then I need to figure out a way to make content for that audience that lets me make like 100 videos. So I need to figure out like 5 ways that I can serve this audience. And those are going to be my content buckets. Those are going to be my content buckets, right? Let's say that I was a video editing channel. Okay, let's say I was a video editing channel. And let's say that I wanted to make different content buckets to serve an audience. So what I would do is I would make one of my main content buckets as a playlist that would specifically be around Premiere Pro tutorials that are just about using a specific feature. So I would go and I would know I can make like maybe easily 10, but I could go 20 videos, 30 videos deep and say, I'm just going to teach you how to use a tool in Premiere Pro. And so I can literally just go down the list and I can teach you 20 different tools and intro you to how to use those in Premiere Pro for video editing. Okay. So I know, great. That's one content bucket and I can go 20 videos deep on that. Okay. Then I know that I can do like 10 videos deep on videos that might be, I could go 10, 20 videos deep on videos that are like absolute beginner guides for video editing on how to do this, how to do that. So I could make like 20 how-to videos that are about doing a specific process. So my first content bucket for video editing is these tools in Adobe Premiere Pro, 20 videos on tools in Adobe Premiere Pro. That's my first of one of 5 content buckets. Then my second content bucket is how-to videos, process videos to teach you a part of the video editing process. I'm going to go 20 videos deep on that. Okay. Now, in terms of video editing, I can make 20 videos that are now specific around just editing faster, how to edit faster. So now I'm at 60 videos that I can make out of my 100 video strategy. Okay. And now I need a fourth content bucket. People who use Adobe Premiere Pro will probably also, in theory, be interested in or use Adobe After Effects. So now I can make 20 different After Effects tutorials and I can focus on that. And then in terms of video editing, I can make 20 videos that might get me some real traction with people by making 20 videos about how to edit like blank. So how to edit like Mr. Beast, how to edit in the style of The Matrix, how to edit in the style of John Wick, how to edit in the style of how to edit like MKBHD, how to edit like Airrack, how to edit like Dream. You know, I could make videos around how to edit like. So now I have a content strategy that consists of 5 content buckets. I have a few repetitive title formulas in there that I can use over and over and just change 1 or 2 words. So I know exactly how to write my titles now. I know what my topics are for my content buckets. I have 5 of them that I focus on. I have a couple of combinations of titles for each content bucket, so I know exactly what my titles look like. And then I also have individual video ideas. And I know that in this case, for a 100 video strategy, I have 20 ideas for each of the 5 content buckets to make 100 videos for the year, which means making 2 videos a week without missing. And I can take up to 2 weeks off without uploading if I need to for one reason or another. So that would be how I'd make a year-long strategy for a video editing channel and have like 100 videos deep, like a straight up content strategy, right? That is literally a content strategy. So the next phase of that would be, now that I know I have 5 content buckets, I would probably build a thumbnail system. And for my thumbnail system, I would probably design 3 effective styles of thumbnail for each of my content buckets, which means that I have a thumbnail system that has 15 unique types of thumbnails that I can always use. So I would have that. I also probably would do a photo shoot to cut myself out and wear the same clothes in all of it, or wear a handful of different combination of clothes. Maybe wear a uniform, maybe wear my merchandise or something. And I would probably do multiple facial expressions for every type of emotion, multiple body poses and stuff like that. So I probably would make like a catalog of stock photos of myself to use for thumbnails, to where I probably have 100 different photos that I can use, so that now I have like a way to not make thumbnails feel too repetitive, but that they can also be consistent. So now I have a thumbnail system, and now generating thumbnails from scratch is really easy because I have 15 templates and I have 100 poses. So I can make a crazy combination of thumbnails that don't feel too repetitive and that are workable. And then I have all of that. And then I obviously need to choose things like my fonts. So I would go to Google Fonts and I would get some very clean, professional fonts. And now those are going to always be consistent for what they need to be. And I would also pick colors. And so that's what I would do. And for colors, you can pick sports teams combinations, and those do really well. So then I have my style guide now. So now I know exactly what my topics are. And I can always add another bucket of topics because I got clarity. I figured out 5 things that are valuable to my audience. I figured out 5 things. If I'm a video editing channel, here are 5 things that video editors really care about. They care about editing fast. I chose my software, which is Premiere Pro. That's the audience. And Adobe After Effects, and that's the audience. They care about tools, and they care about the techniques of their favorite filmmakers and content creators. So those are the 5 ways that I can stay in my lane. And there's more things to video editing that I can always add later and go deeper on. And I can go like 20 videos deep. And that's a good year 1 strategy. And then in year 2, what I get to do in year 2 is I get to add to this evergreen playlist of videos, and I can add things and say, well, maybe I get to add a bucket that's video editor reacts, or or VFX Pro reacts, or filmmaker reacts. So I get to do that. Okay. Maybe I make some type of challenge video that I do once a month. And then that's a different content bucket of these spectacle storytelling videos where I can give myself a challenge as a video editor once a month. And then these become big content. So that's a different strategy of saying, okay, I built a foundation of 100 evergreen videos that can be discovered, suggested, recommended, do well in browse, suggested, and search. I built evergreen content that can be do well in browse, suggested, and search. Now I'm like, okay, I really want to capitalize on big storytelling videos. So those would be once a month videos. So I can make a plan around that. But then to offset those, so I know, okay, I have something that I can be consistent on, keep the views up, keep churning those. I can add to my existing inventory of videos where I went 20 deep, and I can come up with another 10 for each of those buckets over the year. So now I'm not being hyper repetitive, but I'm adding more value. I'm like, oh, I didn't cover that. Oh, I got requests from the audience. Oh, I got comments. I got this. I got that. I can make a video about this. I can make a video about that. There are people who responded to this. They responded to that. Make an update video. This feature change, all those things. So now 50 of my videos are probably covered by adding value based on the response to the previous 100 and capitalizing off of what the most successful videos were off of the previous 100. There's probably a sequel video to the top. There's probably a sequel video to the top 10 or top 20 videos that YouTube told me performed in the previous 100 videos. So now I make sequels to that. So that covers me on some of the content. So I can make sequels to that. I can make trilogies to that. So maybe that's 30 videos. Then there's added value from the other 50 videos, adding to those 5 content buckets, go 10 more deep. So now I've come up with 80 of my videos. Then I told you I'm going to make 10 spectacle videos, like once a month or so. I'm going to make 10 spectacle storytelling videos. So now I figured out 90 of my videos. And then I still have room to react to things in real time. So then that gives me my other 10. So now I have a 100 video strategy for year 2. So now then I have a 200 video library. And now I'm thinking, okay, I'm 2/3 of the way to building up the 500 videos that really make my career over the course of 5 years, because then that's how I either get to 100,000 subscribers or possibly to 500,000 subscribers or to 1 million subscribers, because most content creators who have 100,000, 500,000, 1 million subscribers, there will be exceptions that prove the rule. There'll be exceptions that prove the rule. But most content creators that have those very high subscriber counts have made a lot of videos. So as you can see, and let me just put that up for you one more time so you can see it. And I know some of you probably will want to screenshot that. So I'll do that one more time for you in terms of the number of uploads. Typically, this is a case study I did with our good friends and sponsors over at TubeBuddy. Here's a case study for you on 3 million YouTube accounts that were using TubeBuddy, anonymized data. And this was just what was typical. And this is before YouTube Shorts, by the way. This is before YouTube Shorts. So take this with a grain of salt. I'm talking about without YouTube Shorts. Here's the number of uploads to, on average, to reach the highest levels of YouTube. So as you can see, the sweet spot is 500 subs. Sweet spot is 500 uploads of good enough content. Take yes for an answer is what I like to say, is take yes for an answer. Everyone thinks that the answer is just higher and higher, more absurd levels of quality, because that's what you see from big YouTubers. However, acceptable thresholds of quality definitely matter. And if you can get yes for an answer, more of yes for an answer is better than maybe. So just keep that in mind. So Candy Apple TV says, my face doesn't get clicks on the thumbnails. Can I do something else, or do I need to get professional pictures? Some content, and I don't know what your niche is, some content is not about faces. Marquez Brownlee doesn't rarely put his face in, even though he's very recognizable, and he doesn't need to. It's just usually the phone, the product, whatever it is, the product is what sells it. Dave 2D doesn't use his face. A lot of content creators are massively successful without using their face. So think about what is most important and valuable to the viewer to communicate the idea, and then use that. Another thing that if you're bad at thumbnails, I want to show you something. If you're bad at thumbnails, and let me just, I have to change what screen I'm sharing. So give me a second, bear with me. If you're bad at thumbnails, there's a cool thing. Some people feel it's controversial. Um, I like the idea of many of you using Midjourney. With this, I tried to kind of recreate what Sunny V2 does a little bit. So I used a reference photo of PewDiePie, and I think it actually did a really good job of generating, um, you know, PewDiePie images I could use if I did a video about PewDiePie, and then kind of get original art out of it. So it gave me some artistic renderings of PewDiePie. So I was able to do that. So pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's not perfect, but this still would probably produce better results than most of you do for thumbnails. So I used this photo of PewDiePie anyone can find from the web. And then I used Midjourney. And Midjourney AI is an AI tool. It's one of these AI art tools. And I used this photo, and then I was able to generate these photos of PewDiePie. And then so if I wanted to make a video about PewDiePie, if I wanted to make a commentary or documentary on PewDiePie, I can do that. I also am able to make cool abstract things. I'm able to make really cool abstract things. So I play with this a lot. And sometimes you can use this just for motivation, or even to figure out things like your lighting. So I'll give you an example. If I maybe type in something like imagine beauty YouTube thumbnail design. Let's see, soft aesthetic, bokeh. And then I put in kind of my dimensions. I'm also going to, yeah, it doesn't matter if it has text, because the thing is, the goal for me is not for it to make the whole thumbnail. The goal for me doing this is not for me to have it make the whole thumbnail. I'm going to minimize this for a quick second because I'm just going to let it do its thing for a minute here. But the goal for me is not to use Midjourney to make the whole thumbnail in this case. It's to make me an asset that I can use for the thumbnail, or to make me inspiration for the thumbnail, so I can do my photography and background, and I can kind of make it myself from scratch in Photoshop. So I'd rather make something from scratch in Photoshop, but I can use Midjourney to give me an idea of what looks good, so that I'm not like just spinning my wheels doing nonsense. So the thing is, I could look at this and I can create a bokeh background that looks like this in Photoshop, and then I could make my own colors for it. I could do all kinds of things. Also, this tells me maybe how to instruct a model to pose, or if I'm doing my own photography, maybe it, I have a friend take a photo for me. And what I do is I use this to, tell them how to help me pose. I can use it to figure out my lighting. So like this gave me some pretty good. This one in the corner and this one in the top, the one in the top left corner and the bottom left corner are probably the best. But there's ideas, because then if I was doing working with a beauty YouTuber, I could talk to her about, well, maybe we should do the glitter on your face like this, and we could do these things. Or hey, I'm going to either artificially generate this bokeh background, or I'm going to set up my lights to create it, or I'm going to do different things. So this could be really powerful for helping you with photography, design, layout, color. So because a lot of you, your hardest part sometimes is coming up with ideas, especially for thumbnails. Those of you struggling with thumbnails. So if I was in a completely different niche, and let's say I was in like the niche of doing like horror content, scary story content. So if I was making scary story content, what I would probably do is I'd probably tell Midjourney to imagine Lovecraft monster reading a book and facing forward. and I would tell it high detail photo, realistic. And then I would tell it my other parameters here, which is just telling it 16 by 19 and stuff like that, wide shot. And what it'll do is it'll end up generating, like, if I want to do scary story stuff, it's going to generate a Lovecraft monster for me. And then I could take that Lovecraft monster into Photoshop, do my typography, do my text, do these things. And then I'd have like a really unique thumbnail that is kind of only for my video. By making this like Lovecraft monster that's reading a book would help me with my scary story content. So you can see it's generating it there. So then I'd have like unique stuff to be able to make a cool thumbnail. And that would be how I could stand out in YouTube with my thumbnails. And then I could do some typography. Like I said, Google Fonts is good for typography. So this sort of thing tends to help. So that's how, if you struggle with thumbnails, some of it is design, which you can get ideation by just having it give you inspiration. And some of it is that you need good artwork. So some of you, if you are bad at design or art, or you don't have a budget or something like that, you can use Midjourney and then like see again for scary stories. Look at what I can make for scary stories. So like this one in the top right corner is truly terrifying, and it's a perfect YouTube thumbnail. Any of these would actually be really good YouTube thumbnails, but like I really like the one in the top right corner, and I think that's creepy and scary as hell. So like I would probably use something like that if I was doing the genre of, like, let's say doing radio drama, horror stories, scary stories, that kind of thing. So if you're in a situation where your videos aren't getting clicks, they aren't getting views, things like that, and you're trying to grow, a big part of it could be the aesthetic. It could be a book is judged by its cover, so to speak. So a tool like Midjourney might be able to help you out with that. And so that's where I would use that. And then with this, I could help it again, like with content strategy. I could get designs even for other niches, beauty YouTube, tech YouTube. I could get posing ideas. I can get posing ideas. In fact, I could even tell it to imagine, male poses, full body, wide shot, wide angle. And then instead of 16 by 19, I'm actually going to tell it to go with 1 by 2. I'm going to tell it to give an aspect ratio of 1 by 2. And then it's going to give me poses. And then maybe by getting those poses, I get ideas for how to pose in my thumbnails and get stronger poses and ideas. Then I can get photos made, and then I can take those into Photoshop, and then I can make better YouTube thumbnails. Javon asked, is it better to do content that makes money or what you're passionate about in building a successful channel? So it depends on how you define success, where some of that may be a matter of just where you are in your life. If I was like under the age of like 20, I probably would be telling you, oh, make what you're passionate about, chase views, get clout, do all the things, right? If I was in my 20s, maybe that would make sense, because maybe what, I'm trying to accomplish. Actually, this is pretty good in terms of some inspo. I like this one in the top left corner here. But let's say if I was in my 20s, and I don't have bills. If I don't have bills, I don't need to move out of my parents' house. I'm in college. Maybe I'm on campus. Maybe I'm living in the dorm. If I'm on campus, I'm living in the dorm, or I'm in high school, I'd probably make whatever I want. Make what I'm passionate about. Try to make viral videos. Probably do that, because then you don't have to pay bills. If you're a grown up, what you should probably do is make content that you're really skilled at, something you're skilled at, something you're not going to get too bored with. And you should probably prioritize money a little bit more than passion if you're an adult, because if you're an adult, when you need money if you're an adult to free up your time and free up your energy. And the thing is, if you're struggling financially, there's no amount of doing what you love that's going to make up for it, no matter what anyone tells you. No matter what anyone tells you, if you're struggling financially, doing what you're passionate about isn't going to save you. It's not going to help you in terms of that struggle and your mental health and all of those things. So if you're an adult and you have responsibilities, you pay rent or a mortgage, you have a family, you have kids, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, oh, chase and follow your passion. I'm like, no, you probably need to make money. You probably need to make money to justify it. If you have kids, anytime you're doing something that doesn't make money, that takes away from your kids, you have to live with that. You have to live with that. If you have kids and you're deciding to do something and it's not making money that benefits the family in some way, that's a little rough. I'm not saying you can't ever do something for yourself, but I would say if you're going to follow your passion, then I'll tell you this. If you're an adult and you want to do YouTube purely on, I want to make what I want to make, I want to follow my passion, I don't want to have to think about money, I don't want to feel like a sellout, any of those things, then I would probably say you're not allowed to have any other hobbies. I would cancel Netflix, Disney Plus, any other paid hobby that you put money into. If you want to do YouTube for passion and you're an adult, no other hobbies then. In my opinion, this is just my personal opinion, and my professional opinion is that if you're an adult with responsibility and you say, I also want to do YouTube and I want to do it from passion instead of focusing purely on whether it will be successful and financially justifiable, and this is especially if you have a family, I think that if that's the case, you don't get that and another hobby anymore. Because I think it's really hard to justify that to a family, that you are going to have YouTube, which is a very time intensive, very financially intensive hobby, and not make it as profitable as possible. I think that's very difficult to justify. And I've seen it destroy relationships. And so my recommendation is it depends on where your phase is in life. If you're single, fast and free, and you're young, maybe you can do whatever you're passionate about. If you're an adult with responsibility, you better do something that is practical, that you don't hate, that you're passionate enough about. But I would say it's more important to be practical than passionate the older you get. The older you get, practicality and profit outweigh passion. And it might seem unfair, but that's the advantages of youth. So carpe diem, take advantage of things when you're young, because when you get older, life tends to get more difficult and more challenging. And that I know that probably brings a lot of people down, but I'm just gonna keep it a buck 100. That probably brings people down, but I'm gonna keep it a buck 100. Dio, if Midjourney does make moving backgrounds, I have not experimented with that yet. Let's see. We got another super chat here. We got a super chat from Nico. I want to start a YouTube channel just to build an audience for my comic book projects I want to sell. Can you remember anybody that managed to do something similar? The genre is dark fantasy graphic novels. Go look up the author Brandon Sanderson. Go look up the author Brandon Sanderson. He wrote the Mistborn series and several other books, and the Cosmere series or Chronicles, the Cosmere saga, I think. Mistborn's included in that. I think he's written 30 books. Look up Brandon Sanderson. Go look at his YouTube channel and then look at how he incorporates his novels and his writing and being a writer into his YouTube channel. And I feel that that will help you with understanding building an audience for your comic books. but you will just have to take what he did with writing and then apply that to comics, because comics are writing and art, but comics also largely are in the back of their writing, and the art then communicates the story. So look at Brandon Sanderson as a writer and novelist who's also on YouTube and is very passionate about his content creation. Look at how he built his audience in social media, and then look at his social media presence, not just on YouTube, but in other places as well. And then I would say to reverse engineer and build off of what he's done, but then take that into the comic book world, if that makes sense. So let's see here. That was a good question. I like that. KM Gun Art says, I'm doing similar to Nico, but with traditional art. My idea of monetization is having a platform to sell my art and prints. Actually, KM Gun Art, here's what I would do for you if you're an artist. I think if you're an artist and you're going to do prints and print on demands, you can sell art and prints. But what I think you should do, because people may not, your original characters mean something to you. They may not mean something to the audience yet. I think what you could do is you should actually do something really interesting and maybe make a clothing line that's a theme using your art style. And so then I would do your art style, and then I'd maybe pick something like the Chinese zodiac, right? I would take your art style, then I would take the animals of the Chinese zodiac, and then I would make a clothing line in that art style, because I'd make a bunch of different concepts in your art style, so that people can wear your art style with something that is so tight, so hot that people are like, where the hell did you get that jacket? Where the hell did you get that hoodie? Where did you get that shirt? Oh my God, I need that. And then that becomes even by itself, a standalone clothing line. Whether they care about your art per se, you have this clothing line that really is popping, and you can promote that, and it can be a standalone e-commerce clothing line brand, right? So then that's one thing. And then with the rest of it, in terms of prints, I would probably even consider doing something like maybe taking your art style and then making your art style and then making other products. Maybe you do tarot cards in your art style. Maybe do posters of tarot cards in your art style, so that you have all of that. And then it becomes this thing that they don't have to care about your art first. There's a market of people who care about this other thing, but now your art style stands out in the market of people who care about this other thing, if that makes sense. So then now you're able to tap into a market where there may not be an artist of your level and character level and caliber, but your style also is unique in that arena for those products. Roberto, how long did it take you to go full-time on YouTube since starting your channel, meaning quitting a job? Did you quit your day job to go full-time on YouTube? No, I was a full-time freelancer already. I was a full-time freelancer already, which means that I had time freedom, which most of you don't have because you work a 9-to-5 job. So as a freelancer, I had scheduling flexibility. So the thing is, I didn't quit to do YouTube. I quit to do client services freelancing because I could guarantee the money. YouTube, I couldn't guarantee the money. So I went client services. I went service instead of product. So I started a one-person business. Dan Coe talks about this all the time. So the way that I got to be a content creator is I started a one-person business where I took my skills in photography, graphic design, video production, and video editing. And so I made video ads for local small businesses. I did video and wedding photography. I did video for churches. So I did video for churches. I did websites. I did posters, flyers. I did the signs and banners and prints for trade shows. So when someone had to showcase their product, I did the the big tall banner signage for the trade shows and conventions. I did that for people. So I did all of this client services work because I had a background in graphic design. I knew Adobe Photoshop, I knew Adobe Illustrator, I knew Adobe InDesign. That's also why my earliest tutorials and stuff on my earliest content on YouTube, what was it? Video editing in Premiere Pro, photo editing in Photoshop and Lightroom, right? It was photo and video editing and graphic design were the first skills I taught any of you. First skills I taught any of you was not how to grow a YouTube channel. I taught you how to use a camera and what the camera settings were. Remember that? Remember my old videos on camera lenses, camera gear, camera settings, and things like that. And then photography and video editing. Those were the first things I taught. And graphic design and logo design and pricing yourself, right? So that let me quit my full-time job because I could guarantee the money. I also took up freelance writing because my blog and website demonstrated that value to clients, and then publications paid me to write about photography. They paid me to write about photography, and they paid me to write about graphic design. So I was a paid writer before I ever published my first book, which I published last year, Create Something Awesome, How Creators Are Profiting from Their Passion, the Creator Economy, linked in the description down below. Get it on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Order it to your public library or use the Libby app to get it for free from your public library as an ebook. Before I was ever a published author with my own book, I was writing for publications and I wrote about what I knew: graphic design, photography, and freelancing. And publications paid me to, write those things. So I had that. And then I was doing that in the world for clients, and I was editing videos for companies. So I made that money. Then because my own personal brand started growing after like a year or two, they started wanting to pay me for consulting and marketing services, which I was qualified for because my previous job was being the marketing manager at a web hosting company. So I had a background in advertising and design, managing Google Ads, doing all these things. My own social media was bigger than theirs. So companies started hiring me to manage the back end of their social media or do strategy for them and do in-house training and workshops and train their people. So then I stopped doing logo design and book cover designs for people, and I started working for corporate clients. And I started doing training for in-house digital teams. So I taught in-house digital teams how to manage social media accounts for the company, how to design their graphics, their YouTube thumbnails. I taught them how to build video editing teams inside of their companies, and they paid me really well for that. And then I got recommendations because of that and the writing to be a public speaker in 2015 and 2016. And then I started my speaking career. And because I had all that money coming in, it made it easy enough, since I controlled my time, to make YouTube videos from 2013 to 2016 and to make 800 videos, because that's what it took me. It took me 800 videos, and then that's how I got my silver play button. I got my silver play button because from 2013 to 2016, I made 800 videos. First year I grew 10,000. Second year I grew 20,000. Then I went daily, made a bunch of videos. Then I was able to make 800 videos, get to 100,000 subscribers. I grew from 20 to 100,000 subscribers in 14 months. I grew from 20,000 to 100,000 in roughly 14 months because it was February of 2015 through April of 2016 for me to get to 100,000 subscribers. So that's how I did it. But I could do it because I had time freedom, because I controlled my own one-person business. I had investment capital because I was making money from clients, paying my bills, and then still able to put money back into my channel and my equipment. In terms of manpower, I was a one-person team, but I knew what tools to use, so I was still a one-man team. But once in a while, I could get a friend to hold a camera for me, so sometimes that helped, especially with thumbnails or something. So manpower can help you. And then I had experience and efficiency on my side because I already knew Photoshop and Premiere Pro and all the Adobe suite. And I also knew camera settings and camera gear and what to do. And I was able to also learn whatever I didn't already know. So the framework that lets you become a full-time YouTuber is you have to master time. And time is just an acronym for time freedom, investment capital, manpower, and experience/efficiency. So that is how I became a full-time YouTuber. Instead of leaving my job to YouTube, I left my job to become a one-person business. And then I was able to grow my income to the same level that my job paid me in salary, but I keep like all the money, I keep all the relationship, I keep all the reputation, and I had to buy my own resources to do it. So that was how I pulled that off. Mama G Gear says, I just bought the book, loving it so far. Book is awesome. Bob's Product says, what if you don't teach, but you're funny and you're the product? So there's a different business model for people who are entertainers. There's a different business model for people who are entertainers. And what happens with entertainers is some of them are really, really good at content strategy. They're really good entertaining, but they're also strategic. They create a lot of value. They know how to get views. They know how to get their value clear and get their views consistent. And they make high quality content that has good production from the video production side, personality because they have style, structure, and storytelling. We care about storytelling. It's the buzzword of the year now. And they also have good on-camera performance because they have charisma. You have to have charisma to be funny. They can connect emotionally with the audience, and they can communicate well on camera. So they have those in their favor, so they can make quality content, right? Where people struggle is monetization, because entertainers that I know people who have 1 million subscribers on YouTube, do hella views, and they cannot barely make rent. They cannot. I know people with 1 million to 4 million subscribers that don't make as much money as me and they get 100 times the views I do. They get 100 times the views, and they cannot barely pay their rent. And I'm not calling anyone out, and it's actually really sad. It's kind of heartbreaking to a degree, because there's the fantasy of YouTube where if I just go viral, if I just get enough views, if I just get enough subscribers, I'll be okay. And it's a fantasy that like a lot of young YouTubers put out there. I'm 38 years old. I'm 38 years old, single, make like $300,000 a year. I'm a homeowner. I had 10 years working for other people before working for myself. I've been around the block, and I've also been on YouTube since the very beginning. I've been on YouTube since like 2006, but I didn't take it seriously at all until 2013. So it doesn't really count until you commit to something and make it serious. And I committed it with the mindset that somebody starts building a business or building a career out of. And what I'll say is a lot of young people don't understand what YouTube and content creation really is long-term, because they haven't done anything in their life long-term for like 10, 15 years to like have to live with it for a very long time. So my perspective will contradict the advice that comes from the biggest, youngest, most successful YouTubers, because they blew up fast. I take nothing away from them, but they blew up fast. They went viral, and they're exceptions to the rule. So when I talk, I'm trying to talk to like the creator middle class as the goal and the creator working class as the reality. And what that tends to look like is, if you're an entertainer, your pathway to full-time YouTube largely relies on brand deals at the early part, because with brand deals, you can get a big enough payday to have some time and some stability, but you have to keep getting that, and you have to kind of get like monthly recurring sponsors so that you can replace your full-time salary if you're an entertainer and you're the product, right? But if you're the product and you're just trying to entertain, it becomes really hard to sell things to your audience, and a lot of them resent you for it. And people, unless you make the dopest merch in the world, people are kind of over merch. So that makes it really hard. And but if you're creative and clever enough, and it depends on what you're in, like, you know, people like in the tarot card niche, I could see them making product and their audience buying product, for example, right? I'm not into that, but there are people who are into that. Okay. if you're an entertainer, it's harder to do affiliate marketing. It's harder to make your own products. It's hard to do things. So if you're an entertainer and you're the product, what you have to end up selling is access to you and access to the audience. So you sell access to the audience through sponsored content and ad revenue, and then you sell access to you through live streaming and memberships. And so the business model for an entertainer, and I'll probably make a diagram like this for the business model for entertainers and then the business model for educators, and I'll compare them. Maybe that'll be one of our next streams. Maybe that'll be one of our next streams on behind the business of YouTube, entertainment channel versus education channel. Maybe that's next week's stream, or maybe it'll be the week after. We'll see. But what I would say is that the pillars of your income for an entertainer, if you're the product, you're selling yourself, which is largely you're not really a passive income creator. You then become an active income creator. If you're the product, you're an active income creator, which means you don't get off the treadmill, which is very hard, but that's what most content creators are. And that's where burnout comes from, unfortunately. And then it's largely you gave yourself more of a job in some ways than a business, but you can make good money. Just don't get me wrong. You can make good money, but it will be, you sell yourself to your audience through live streaming and getting donations in live streaming, and then membership fan funding on the back end of memberships. If you're an entertainer and you're the product, so you sell yourself to the audience, and then you sell the access to the audience to the brands through ad revenue and through sponsorship. And that's your path if you're the product, Bob. If you're the product and you're an entertainer, that's what that tends to look like for most people. CJ's info, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate you. 10 plus sounds, thank you for the $5 super chat. Also appreciate you. How do you determine a video's success or failure based on channel size? You actually don't do it based on channel size. This is a great question. How do you determine if a video is successful or a failure based on your channel size? I feel sometimes I have unrealistic expectation of this video's performance. This is a great question. You actually don't determine it by channel size. You determine it by the topic or the niche itself and what's normal in the topic and the niche itself. And in theory, if you were going to go off of size, you would find 10 channels of the same size of you in the same niche as you, and you would figure out what is the median. What is normal is you'd figure out what the median for views is, or the average for views is, and you would probably just want to do that over the last 10 videos for 10 channels that are of a similar size to you. You also might want to figure out what that is for the next size up. So let's talk about this, and let's talk about channel size. I know a lot of you are worried about channel size. You need to stop comparing yourself to bigger YouTubers, but you do need to understand bigger YouTubers than you. So here's the exercise. And this is how crazy I am about like data and spreadsheets and graphs, because I'm a lunatic. But think about it. This is why I'm a strategy guy. This is why I'm a strategist. This is why people hire me for coaching, is because I come up with these weird things that make sense a lot of times. And then when I'm at Vid Summit, you know how like big YouTubers talk about luck. Well, then I go to a conference, and what are we all doing? We're all sitting there with Excel spreadsheets and Excel formulas. But so like, it's really interesting to tell the audience success is luck, success is luck, success is luck. Oh, 80% of success is luck. It's easy to tell people that. It's easy to tell, but I think we're not telling people the truth if we tell people it's luck. I do not think we're telling the truth when we say luck, or would we entertain how, oh, I'm so lucky in my career. I think we say that to make people feel better. I think it's intellectually dishonest, because here's what happens at conferences. And this leads into why I'm going to tell you how to measure your channel size accurately and what's possible and what's real. Is people tell you about luck, and then why am I in rooms with them at conferences and events at the hotel and at the venue? And why is everyone gathered over, hunched over a laptop? And why are we pouring over like Excel spreadsheets, Microsoft Excel spreadsheets. If it's luck, why the hell are we just data maniacs and lunatics crunching piles of data and having stacks of spreadsheets and printouts and making line graphs and charts? Like, if it's luck, why the hell are we doing that like lunatics? Because like, I think we're explaining it wrong. Because like, I think people use luck as a euphemism for timing, but timing is contrived. Like, people come up with strategies for timing. People rig timing in their favor all the time. Just because the average person doesn't do it doesn't really make a difference as to what's real, because that's why 90% of content creators fail, is because you change your failure rate when you change yourself. If you start from nothing with no experience with a 90% possibility of failing. But if you change like a bunch of things about yourself, you've qualified better. It's like a job description, right? I'm going to like write out at some point like an accurate job description of what a successful YouTuber is, like what a full-time YouTuber is. I'm going to write a job description for being a full-time YouTuber. Because the thing is, since people don't take it seriously as a career, this is why I wrote my book, is because I take the approach of like YouTube's like content creation, whether it's YouTube, live streaming, podcasting, or writing online, it's a career, right? But do people qualify for a full-time job in this industry? Do people qualify to make it a full-time career? Because what's the job description? See, we went so hard on escaping traditional career mode that we screwed ourselves, because now it's a nebulous, like everybody's doing their own thing. There are no standards. There's no clear path. And every other career field has a clear set of responsibilities, descriptions, and a job role for you, and a way to have a career path and to grow your career, right? So that's what I'm trying to do, is I want content creators to have standards like everyone else does, so they can have job requirements and expectations and know how they're making their money and what to expect and what year 10 of a career could be, and what's an exit, what do you do when you want to move on? Like, we have to know these things, because like, if this is the job that everyone says they want, or this is the second career that people in their 30s and 40s want, then we have to have realistic career expectations. We have to have clear guidelines to some degree. We don't have to rigidly follow these rules over a cliff or anything, but we need to know what we're doing and why it matters and what it should be paid for, right? So to answer this question, in terms of terming success or failure, I want you guys to open like a Google spreadsheet in like Google Docs. I want you to open like a Google spreadsheet or make a Microsoft spreadsheet, and I want to help you with this. And so what you should do is you need to find like 10 competitors in your niche of your size, whatever your size is, right? But then you need the next, you need 10 channels a size above that. And the size above that is if you're at, most of you are at like 10,000 or roughly 10,000 subscribers, right? So find channels in your niche or that make the same content as you. Find 10 channels that make the same content as you that have a similar subscriber number. So like 10,000. And so the brackets are 1,000, 10,000. Write this down. Take notes. Write this down. The brackets are 1,000, 10,000, and 50,000, then 100,000, then 500,000, then 1 million, right? Now, realistically, decide how much success you can handle, because not everyone can handle 1 million subscriber success. So like 50,000, 100,000, probably reasonable targets, or at least your next target. So kind of cap it maybe at what your next target or the next 2 targets above you look like. Don't go to the extreme, because then you'll waste a lot of time. Just stick with 2 ranks above you. And the ranks are 1,000, 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, 500,000, and then 1 million. So only plot this out for 2 ranks above you, like the level you're at plus 2 ranks above you. In a spreadsheet, make a list of 10 channels at the rank that you're at, and then 10 channels at the rank above you, and then 10 channels at the rank above that. Then for each of those 10 channels, go look at the last 10 videos they published and figure out the number of views that those channels got. So then you're going to have 100 videos of the last 10, because you have the last 10 uploads for 10 different channels, and you'll know how many views they got. Okay. And these have to be channels that are making the same type of content as you for the same type of audience as you. So then you're going to have those numbers. Then you're going to take those numbers. And what I want you to do is I want you to get the average for those numbers. I want you to get the median for those numbers, which is what 50% or more of it comes out to. Okay. So I want you to get the average and the median on views. And so once you have the average and median on views, that's a good indicator of whether you're doing okay relative to a channel of the same rank as you. Okay. Then I want you to determine what the top 10% of views look like. What would being in the top 10% of possible views among those videos' view counts would look like for a channel of your similar size out of those 10. Then I want you to determine what out of the last, and this is of the last 10 videos that were published. This is not of all time. This is not of all time, because this is about realistic about what's happening in your niche when it's happening. And you see how complicated this is. You see how convoluted this is. You see how competitor analysis for strategy, for content strategy, gets really convoluted. So analyzing data, this is why I go insane. This is what I go insane doing. This is why being an analyst and being an analyst and a content strategist, this is why it sucks, because it's just bean counting. It's just bean counting. And it's just running numbers, okay? To a degree. There's a creative element to it, but a lot of it's just running numbers. It's just running the numbers. So because we have to determine what's real. We have to determine what's real. So now you know, all right, you know what the average is. You know what the median is. You know what the top 10% is. You know what the top 1% is. And you know that for the channels of a similar rank to you. You repeat this process for the next rank up and the one rank up after that, because otherwise you'll drive yourself insane. So now you have a realistic overview by doing this of what success is in terms of how the market responds to your niche and what the expectations you could have realistically of a creator of your size, the next rank up and next rank up for that. So this also helps you with realistic goal setting and realistic expectations, and you'll know what the average is for that, what the median is for that, what the top 10% is for that, and what the top 1% is for that. And the goal should be to just improve a little bit at a time to make sure that you're within the right numbers. And that, as complex and convoluted as that is, if you know what the truth is in your niche and say, you know what, it's normal in my niche to get 10,000 views on an upload. Just because somebody's getting 100,000, it's normal for people in my rank. It's normal to get 10,000. Okay. So one, stop comparing yourself to all of YouTube. Only compare yourself to the people you share an audience with if you're going to compare. Do not think that all of YouTube applies to you. What applies to you is the people who serve the same audience as you. Okay. So now you've narrowed your scope down to that. So do that. Also narrow your scope down to not all of YouTube, but think about, well, who speaks the same language as me, maybe. Maybe who's in the same country as me, maybe. Okay, and then who's in the same niche as me and makes content of a similar style. Okay, great. And who has a similar audience size. Now you're being realistic and you're not missing the forest for the trees. You're being very realistic. You're narrowing your scope to what makes actually sense to look at. So now you don't have to worry about all YouTubers of your size. It's all YouTubers of your size that serve the same audience as you. And now you have 10 of them like that to know what normal is. And so you know that. Now you know when you get to a next level, you'll know what the new normal in theory could be or should be. And then you can go that. Now, this is extremely time intensive, but for some of you, it will be what helps your mental health to figure out, oh, that's what's like, that's what's normal. Okay, cool. And then you can kind of get to that. Now, something that in theory could help you is TubeBuddy. Our friends over at TubeBuddy in one of their paid plans, I think it's maybe Star or Pro, there's a competitor analysis tool. What can help you is the competitor analysis tool. You could specifically only put in competitors that are of the same channel size ranking as you in terms of those ranks we talked about. And those ranks are basically being 1,000 subscribers, 10,000 subscribers, 50,000 subscribers, 100,000 subscribers, 500,000 subscribers, 1 million subscribers. So if you just put in competitors that are of a similar level to you, YouTube's TubeBuddy's competitor analysis tool could do most of this work for you, and you could kind of see what's normal for competitors of your size that only speak to the same audience as you. And so then you'd go, okay, I know where I stand now. And that might be able to help you do a little bit better when you know exactly where you stand. And then you're not comparing yourself to people on God mode. And then you would like have realistic expectations. So you can do this manually with an Excel document for free, and you can keep updating it manually, or you could use TubeBuddy's competitor analysis tool. And, so that's just ways you could go about it. Northleaf Canada, thank you for the $10 Canadian. Roberto, I just came across your channel 2 days ago. The only channel with useful info. I started my channel 7 months ago, and I'm wondering if providing English and Arabic content is not a bad idea. So thank you for the tremendous compliment, and thank you for the super chat. Having more than one language right now is tricky because we're waiting on YouTube to roll out the audio track dubbing tools to everybody so that you can have more than one language track, kind of like how Netflix operates. So the thing is, I would not put both languages on the same channel right now. Once that feature rolls out to everybody or to more channels, it'll make sense because you can literally have the viewer watch in whatever language they speak, and usually it will automatically detect their language preferences and it'll switch over to it, just like Netflix does. So we're waiting on more information on that, but I think by the summer or the end of summer, that'll be rolled out to more channels, or we'll know if there's a subscriber requirement. I imagine it'll probably be rolled out to all monetized channels. So if you started 7 months ago, the main thing is to get monetized if you haven't already. If you're monetized, the next thing is to get to 10,000 subscribers. And to do that, I would focus on one group of people, and I would focus on one language for now until YouTube gives us our multi-language tools. Then when YouTube gives us our multi-language tools, I would then take advantage of multiple languages and dubbing. And there's tools like Dubverse. Dubverse does really good with audio dubbing, and it'll take your voice and it'll put your voice in another language and it'll sound like you. Screenwriting Mentor, thank you for the $10 super chat. I'm getting close to 1,000 subs, but only about a third of the way to 4K hours. What should I be doing differently? Thanks. Also, love the book. Thank you so much, Screenwriting Mentor. Also, any of you who have bought my book, Create Something Awesome, How Creators Are Profiting from Their Passion in the Creator Economy. If you bought my book and you love my book, I need you to do me a huge favor. I need more Amazon ratings and I need more Amazon reviews. I need more 5-star ratings if you can help me out there. If you love the book, only if you love it. And I need more reviews of the book that tell people what you got out of it, how you enjoyed it, what you thought was different than other books. So help me out with that. I really appreciate you. If you bought the book, if you want to buy the book, it's linked in Amazon in the description down below. That is an Amazon affiliate link. But yeah, Screenwriting Mentor. Here is the thing. I made a video on my channel that details exactly how to get 4,000 hours of watch time. And one of the things I mentioned was the importance of average view duration. So 4,000 hours of watch time is approximately 240,000 minutes of watch time. See, I'm a nerd. This is the damn spreadsheet talking. It's the damn spreadsheet talking. So 4,000 hours is 240,000 minutes of watch time. Okay. So the method that I came up with was make 100 videos, but you can like use a formula. I'm going to make a formula calculator for watch time. I'm going to make a watch time calculator, but I'm going to use ChatGPT to make a watch time calculator. because then I can also use the watch time calculator coding in a video about ChatGPT. But I'm like the basically you make a watch time formula around this, and mine was like make 100 videos, right? So make 100 videos, average across the 100 videos 1,000 views, so that we're talking about 100,000 views total for a 12-month period or whatever period you want, right? So we're going off of 100,000 views. So for that 100,000 views, I need an average view duration of about 3 minutes. And the reason I need an average view duration of about 3 minutes is because then that's going to give me 300,000 qualified watch hours, which means that I have 5K watch hours, which gives me a margin of safety, which guarantees that I have 4K watch hours. So I need an average view duration of 3 minutes. To get an average view duration of 3 minutes, I have to change my content strategy so that since the average content creator only gets an average retention rate of about roughly 30 to 35% retention rate, no matter what you make, no matter how good you are, then in theory, to get 3 minutes, I need to make my videos 9 to 12 minutes at least. I need to make my videos 9 to 12 minutes at least. That way, I have a very good chance on a 9 to 12 minute video of getting a 3 minute average view duration, because then that would be under 35%. So I have a good safety margin. So again, here's the nerd, here's the data collection. Okay. So now I know, okay, if my videos are 9 to 12 minutes long, and then I have an average view duration that comes out to at least 3 minutes, and then if I get 100,000 views over the course of however many uploads it takes me to do that, then I know that I get 300,000 hours of watch time, which gives me 300,000 minutes of watch time, which gives me 5K hours of watch time, which means that even if all my videos don't qualify, I still have enough videos that do. Now, those cannot be YouTube Shorts. They can be live streams. They can be regular video uploads. Those cannot be YouTube Shorts. And so that is the system that I built. And I have a dedicated video that explains it in much more detail and exactly what you need to do. So watch my exactly how to get 4,000 watch hours video. It's still perfectly relevant today because it does not talk about YouTube Shorts. Do that. And that's your best bet to always get 4,000 hours of watch time. The other good thing about this is that if you get 100,000 views, the 1% rule dictates that 1% of YouTube views tend to turn into YouTube subscribers if you're making acceptable quality content. Mine was close to 2%. That's why mine was a little better, which is why it took me about 7.8 million views to get 100,000 subscribers, because I had a slightly better than 1% ratio. But if you have a 1% ratio, then you can turn 100,000 views into 1,000 subscribers. So if you have the 1,000 subscribers, the thing is to focus on watch time, get 100,000 views with an average view duration of 3 minutes. You get the average view duration of 3 minutes by making your videos 9 to 12 minutes. That's your content strategy for length, for duration. And this is also why my strategy revolves so heavily around 100 video uploads. So in terms of video frequency, the video content calendar is 100 videos a year. My strategy for watch time is making videos of a 9 to 12 minute length to guarantee 4K watch time. And then my view target is to get to 100,000 cumulative views to be able to turn that into the subscriber monetization threshold. And then after that, all I start doing is turn the number of views into my CPM threshold to determine basically my salary from AdSense. So that's how I do content strategy. Is I build these systems strategically, and I write out formulas for them, and then we determine a goal, and then we deploy the formula that we built around the goal. And so we just map all of that out, and I'm a spreadsheet guy. So, yep. I hope that helps. I understand why you hate viral now. Thanks for elaborating. Yeah, to a degree. The big problem is you don't get paid enough for it. A lot of times it gets undermined, and then people make a bunch of money, but they try to ride that money. And they live off that money for like 3 months and then pray for the next viral video a lot of times. I think this is Sujarina. Hey, Roberto, I'm making an when making an informed video series with 30 episodes, should I create a batch of videos ready to release first or make videos on the go for each episode? So not on the go for each episode and not front loading too heavy, With batching, you lose energy if you try to do more than like 3 videos at a time. And they would have to be evergreen videos that will still be relevant in like 3 to 6 months at least, if not longer. So I would like make my videos like maybe 2 to 3 videos at a time per session to get ahead of things. And then I'd only try to get maybe a week ahead of myself. I would only get ahead by a week. So if I'm publishing like 2 videos a week, then I probably make 3 videos at a time. And I always have one in the can. And then I probably just get like 2 weeks ahead. And then I try not to go too hard past maybe 1 to 2 weeks ahead at best. So, yeah. I also would make those videos dependent on each other to where they have to watch one in order to get to the other. How do you determine if a video succeeds or fails based on channel size? We already covered that. So, do I consider myself the product as well? Yes and no. And part of that is I'm making more products so that I don't have to be. And I wrote a book so that I could not be the product. And when I do public speaking, I make my workshop or my keynote the product and I package that. And so then I'm just delivering the product at that point. So the product is largely crafted and then I'm delivering it. So I try to do that. But when I live stream, I'm the product. When I live stream, I'm the product. When I do a brand deal, I'm the product. And when I do channel memberships, I'm the product. When I do my Awesome Creator Academy coaching membership, I'm not the product. I built the product for that. And we have a service in that that's a hybrid. So we have a service in that that's a hybrid. So the thing is, I will become less of the product over time because I'm putting myself in that trajectory. But I'm the product maybe 20% of the time, but 80% of the time I'm not, at least as far as how I'm approaching it. In terms of how my current cash flow is, I would say that I'm 40% the product. Sometimes I'm 50-50 because brand deals is a very big part of my income stream right now. It's 40 to 50%. So sometimes it's 60-40. I'm not the product, but sometimes it could be 50-50. But I'm about to build out so much of my ecosystem over the next 3 years to where I will only be 20% the product. And the goal is to have me only become maybe 10% of the product. Or rather, I'm the product 10% of the time is a better way to put it. Yep. Two Chicks with a Side Hustle YouTube says, Roberto, in my day job, I'm a data analyst. I love the way you use analytics to tell the story. Yep. Appreciate you. Extrapolating data is critical. Analytics are the foundation. They often are. Saffron Sage Astrology says you should write that job description. I am, and I'm going to kind of write the job description of a part-time YouTuber and a full-time YouTuber. I probably will also do the same thing for podcasters and live streamers. And I will this will probably sit on both my website maybe and LinkedIn. So we'll see. Roberto, what's your opinion on monetizing a crowd-funded maker organization via channel sponsorships? I worry brand deals will discourage supporters from investing in our mission. We are in 10K a month, 56K subs. That one's really difficult. That's something I'd have to have like a one-on-one business conversation about because I'd need a lot more details and context before I could even think about commenting on that. But that does sound interesting, at least. That at least does sound interesting. Yeah, Canva is a great tool for creators. Um, my operations manager and Andy Rivera, she is working on the Canva creator system. That's a product we'll probably release this summer, if not late spring, like at the end of Q. No, we're already at the end of Q1. So we'll release that probably in early or mid Q2, definitely before June. We'll release the Canva creator system because not everyone's a Photoshop guru like me. So we're going to do like a Canva creator system. And it'll be a combination of a course, but also like a bunch of Canva templates. So that's why we're calling it the Canva creator system. Is there'll be a course, there'll be a bunch of templates, and there'll be like a lot of different like kind of training outlays and some strategy built in. So you'll have a way to make whatever you could need as a creator using Canva. So we're working on that. I'm working on the brand deals course. I was actually working on that this weekend before I streamed. And later in the year, we're going to do a YouTube crash course that's going to heavily focus on audience growth, content strategy, branding, and really getting your value clear to your audience. Because like I think that these are the things that are not in current YouTube courses. We're also going to talk about the different formats because every course is now outdated because now we have different formats because now we have the YouTube live format, we have YouTube shorts, we have YouTube videos, and we have the podcasting setup. So the thing is, someone needs to make an updated YouTube course. So I'm like volunteering as tribute. I'm just going to make a modern YouTube course. And so I'm taking my time to work on it. The brand deals course will probably be finished in April or May. The brand deals course will be finished in April and May. We'll probably do a workshop on brand deals at the end of May, a paid workshop again. The last one was successful. So those are things that are coming up down the pipeline. Spanish Blueprints, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the guidance. This is very helpful. You're very welcome. Yeah. So we're doing a bunch of stuff. Yeah. And this is where also product creation is going to be working out, like for me, because it means that it puts me in a position also to where it makes content for me easier to monetize that's paywalled because then I'm not making it for the algorithm and I can just be a teacher. And so for me, one, that makes me very comfortable with making the content. Two, it makes the content easier to produce. The quality won't go down. If anything, technically the quality goes up a little bit for that because I'm not editing for an algorithm. And so I think people will really enjoy that because it means something can be as short as it needs to be or as long as it needs to be because there's no algorithm in the way. And I'm going to be real with you. One of the things, like platforms like YouTube and Instagram and LinkedIn and all these platforms, they're convenient as hell. But if I'm being honest, I have a love-hate relationship with algorithms. I have a love-hate relationship with algorithms. Maybe y'all can relate to that. So I'm becoming much more, I like making other things that have no algorithm. So I like making books, podcasts have less of an algorithm. It's much more of a user on demand. I'm liking on demand stuff more than algorithm because I don't like the idea as much of something controlling awareness and distribution. And so I'd almost rather make some things and then just market them to a degree and know that I'm responsible completely than the mind game that an algorithm plays toward a creator. I don't know if that's relatable or not. And so I'm going back to like things like email list. I want to get the newsletter to you guys like every Tuesday. If I can, it'll be every Tuesday and Thursday. But I want to do the newsletter 1 to 2 times a week to get content to you through the newsletter. I want to start publishing a lot more on the website, and I want to do the podcast more often. I'm probably going to move to streaming 2 times a week because you guys get the notifications, and I like being live quite a bit. So those kind of things are like the mental direction that I'm heading in. And then in terms of paywalled content, I like the idea that I can consolidate things in a course similarly to how I consolidate them in a book, but then I can also add tools like templates and PDFs to it. So I'm starting to gain a preference. It doesn't mean free content or content platform stuff will ever go away for me. It won't go away for me. It's just that I will feel better when I feel like I own enough of my own stuff and that I'm not beholden to the platforms. I want to own my own ecosystem of things. And some of it will be free and some of it will be paywall, like blog articles, podcast, um, and like what else? Blog articles, podcasts, newsletters, those things free, and then some paywalled stuff like templates and courses and things like that, and membership paywalled because I own everything and the platforms don't. Because I'm beginning to feel like we need to, as creators, have a layer of protection from platforms that we control. And I think a lot of people are still resisting it because it's inconvenient to do. So yeah. Katia says, old niche was healthy living, canning, preserving, and gardening. I pivoted to just herbs. 7K subs, monetized, making a few thousand monthly, selling books and courses. Now I want to do both on a new channel. So you mean you want to do the healthy living canning and on a different channel? I don't understand fully the question. Here's what I will say. If you're just doing herbs, it might be that you niche down to that just because you want to be consistent in views, which makes some sense, but you still love and do the other thing in terms of like healthy living and canning. So I don't mind you having a second channel for that, but I do think maybe these things could live on one channel if you marketed it correctly and you made the content buckets right. But I can also understand ditching them because I can understand that if you get the value as clear as possible, the views will be more consistent, like we talked about. So I think it's interesting. I would have to look a little deeper into this, but I think that either approach could work for you, to be honest with you. I think that either approach, because I think there's enough overlap in those to where either approach could work. But if your first channel is monetized, one of the things I tell people is one of my checklist items for, oh, should I start another YouTube channel? A lot of times is your first channel even monetized yet? So that's like one check in the box of like, okay, should I start a second YouTube channel? Is your first channel monetized? Yes or no? So I like that. And then another one is, well, am I trying to be a full-time content creator? If I'm trying to be a full-time content creator, maybe I should become a full-time content creator before I start a second channel. Or maybe I should get to 10K subscribers before I start taking energy away to a new channel. So that's my other check in the box to start a new channel. I would get to 10K subscribers before you start a new channel. If you can get to 10K subscribers, you beat 90% of content creators because 90% don't get to 10K. So I would do 10K subscribers, then I would worry about starting a second channel. After you get 10K subscribers, at a bare minimum, that's the earliest I would start another channel. But frankly, I wouldn't start another channel unless I was like making really good money or full-time YouTube, or at least making $1,000 a month on my main channel. And then I'm like, I could do a second channel. I'm making $1,000 a month. It's a good side hustle. I can justify this. But if I do it, the other hobbies I have to either make me content, or I can't have other content, or sorry, I can't have other hobbies, because then I'm just spread too thin to make anything effective, if that makes sense. Dark and Dishonest, you said, hey, Roberto, answer my super chat. I don't see your super chat, actually. I've been answering every super chat. I just don't see yours. Oh, wait, here it is. Dark and Dishonest says, covering true crime. My channel is 3 days old. How do I identify who to target with my content? I.e. build viewer avatar. Any ideas for a unique selling proposition, unique value proposition? Okay. You're just starting. It's 3 days old. It's usually good to figure this out as soon as you can before starting, if you can. Not everyone does, so don't worry about it. So when we want a unique selling proposition, we could look at how we could stand out, which means, can I make higher quality content than most people? Usually the answer is not really. So then sometimes I have to say, is there something that the audience values that other creators are not providing anymore? So then that's an interesting idea. And then another one is, well, can I come up with a strategy, an angle for content that nobody else has? And so there are a couple of ways you could start to think of this. With true crime, you could get into a unique selling proposition or a unique value proposition. Let's call it a unique value proposition by maybe targeting specific types of crime or specific criminals that share a characteristic, right? So the problem is, could you run out of subjects? Like if you did true crime, but you focused on female serial killers, you could run out of subjects. If you did true crime, but you focused on serial killers in general, maybe you could run out of subjects, right? But even if that's the case, if there's a limited amount of subjects, maybe you could start with that to build the audience by being unique, because because people also disqualified off that. So where you could start, let's say, is with these unique stories that other people aren't covering. So maybe you start with a mini series and then you move on to a different mini series. So maybe you start with a mini series around like female serial killers. Maybe that you start with a mini series and you cover female serial killers. Then maybe you move on to another mini series and you make a bunch of videos that are around crimes of passion, like crimes that have the eerie twist that this person was madly in love and that's why they committed the crime that they committed. Whatever that crime is, could even be like they did some mass fraud or embezzlement thing to impress their like lover or something like that, right? So, and then you could do a mini series on true crime that goes to crime families, and then maybe it's a mini series about a specific crime family. Then you do another mini series about another crime family, and so on and so forth. So I would start to think of, like, for true crime, I would start to make these mini series, because then you could have all these binge watchers and you could have all these people that could binge watch a mini series, and then they might have another mini series that they want to watch or something like that, because then you're not as worried about whether they care about an individual story or an individual criminal, because now you can use mini series kind of as your marketing ploy, and now you can literally sell them on massive watch time sessions, and then that can grow your channel quite a bit. And a lot of content creators, they are not doing mini series. They're not doing miniseries, not the way that I'm talking about. They're not doing miniseries. They might do a series on a specific person or a specific story or stuff like that, but they're not thinking in miniseries from the beginning as their approach to their content buckets. And as far as doing miniseries, I would try to start with maybe even doing like some miniseries should be like 5-part series that you have to watch in order. Other miniseries could just have the same themes, but not have to be watched in order. So that way you have a mix of guaranteed binge watching loops of people who go from video 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and watch them in order and watch them again. And people might demand a part 6, and then that can be really helpful. So I would look at things like that. I hope that helps. But that's like a straight up content strategy for a true crime channel. Death Monkey XL says, how does one get started on a channel without access to the topic like tech, cars, cool gadgets, etc.? You don't. It's like applying for a job application without having the requirement or the tools. Imagine that there's a job that you have to do and you literally don't have the tools to do the job. You can't do the job, or you shouldn't be trying, because it's a high guarantee that that fails. It's a high probability. So I would say, if there's something you want to do, start with what you have, where you are right now. instead of with what you wish you had and trying to figure it out. Start with what you have, where you are, and make the most of that. If you can do that, and then you can get more, and then you want to do something really cool that requires resources you don't have, acquire the resources, acquire the skills, acquire the thing, but don't try to skip ahead and say, I really want to do this thing, but I'm not qualified to do it because I don't even have the resources to do it. Like, that makes no sense, because your rate of failure, and this is why 90% plus of YouTubers fail, is the thing they want to do has nothing to do with what they're capable of doing with what they have where they are. And then they get frustrated and they don't give it enough time. So the thing is, most people cannot do the most thing they're passionate about because they do not qualify to do the most thing they're passionate about. They don't have the skill, or they don't have the money to do the thing they're most passionate about. So what they need to figure out is, what am I passionate enough about that requires what I currently have, or less than what I currently have, that I actually am good at, so that I can be successful at it. There's no point in me trying to do something that requires me to be 6 feet tall when I'm 5'8". So I need to figure out, well, what can someone who's 5'8" do very well or reasonably well? Because I can only ever suck at something that requires me to be 6 feet tall right now, unless something happens and the requirement or barrier to entry is no longer being 6 feet tall, right? So I either have to start with what I have, or I have to acquire the thing that is necessary. I have to start with what I have, or I have to acquire the thing that's necessary. So the thing is, if you want to start a tech channel or a gadgets channel, you might have to start with just reviewing products you already own. And you might have to accept that that will not get a lot of views, but it starts you somewhere. And that's how most tech YouTubers start, is they start modestly. Now, what a lot of people do, and they tend to regret it when they want to go into things like tech or cars or gadgets, is they go and they spend money on a credit card and they run up $10,000 to start their YouTube channel. And then they're embarrassed by regrets, or they go and they do sponsorships they shouldn't be doing because they have to make the money back to pay off the cards. So that's a bad idea, but that is what a lot of people do. So I would just say, be aware of that. And that one of the best things you can do is, start with what you have, where you are right now, and make the most of that. Need more water. Let's see. Answered Kaeda's super chats. Let's see. Yes, the AI tool that I talked about a little while ago was Dubverse for the audio dubbing in other language. It's called Dubverse. I love how you break things down to easy to understand math and data. Thank you. Yeah, that's the thing. It's not as exciting as other people. I haven't figured out how to make that exciting yet. See, that's where I struggle on this diagram sometimes is I have a lot of value that I can offer that is powerful in terms of value, but sometimes it's not clear enough for people. And then on the quality side, I'm great at communicating and I can be great at storytelling sometimes, but not in the way that is so aligned with the value to have the impact that would really make it stand out to people. So there are things I can work on. One of the biggest things is the retention hooks in the beginning, keeping people hooked in the beginning, and getting my retention rates up, getting my retention graph to over 50%, getting people staying and hooked on the videos, and also getting them to click right away and getting them to click more often. Those things would balance out my my value and view proposition a lot better and a lot more clearly. So there are areas in quality where I feel like I can improve, and on value where I can improve, because I think I give a ton of high value stuff, but I also think that the way I communicate it, sometimes I take too long to get to it because it's really deep. If I can get the brevity in the beginning of a video to be impactful enough, I'm not having a hard enough impact at the very, very, very beginning of a video is probably my biggest weakness as a content creator. I'm fully aware of it. And also sometimes my titles are not exciting enough. Like, because I don't write clickbait titles and it's really rough on me because I don't like clickbait. I don't like clickbait titles. I hate clickbait titles, but I know they work. So don't listen to me on that. Make clickbait titles. But like for me, I struggle sometimes. I can write good titles, but they're not impactful enough to force people to click. I don't create enough tension, enough desire, or enough anxiety. Tension, desire, and anxiety or curiosity are the primary click factors in communicating value, because then it's emotional value, it's driven. I'm high on intellectual value, but my the emotional intelligence communication, it suffers for that. So IQ over EQ on me. If my titles played more to EQ than IQ, I'd get more views. So on the value proposition, what I'm going to try doing is having ChatGPT rewrite titles for me that are based on emotional intelligence. Ironically, I'm using an AI for emotional intelligence, and also to have it focus on action words. And I'm probably not going to have it use so much persuasive voice as I'm going to have it use active voice. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT to rewrite my YouTube titles in active voice and to prioritize emotional intelligence. I'm going to ask it to prioritize, give me options and variations for these titles that either trigger curiosity, anxiety, desire, or create tension. And by making that how ChatGPT rewrites my titles, then I think that it can improve my title system and my title formulas to then attract more clicks, because now the value is more clear and it's more impactful. Then if I work on exciting hooks and getting into the meat of the content as quickly as possible in the first 15, 30 seconds of the video, go ahead and deliver my first tip or my first piece of advice in the first 15 seconds of the video, I could probably keep people watching longer and not lose anybody in the beginning of a video when it's not a live stream. And then I don't think I have to, if I do that, I don't think I have to edit even as hard. I think it's just editing really hard at the first 30 to 90 seconds, edit hard there. And then I don't have to edit hard throughout the video completely to retain people. The value will be there because I didn't lose them. So it's like losing less people up front is where I could then improve on my quality and storytelling aspect of it from the value tree. So if I improve my titles, I don't think my thumbnails have to improve that much. I think it's really just titles. And I think sometimes I just ignore trends when I shouldn't. So I think if I do that, then my value is clear, and then my views become more consistent, more impactful. I think I influence more people if I do that. And then in terms of quality, I think I have to work on the storytelling part of hooks. The rest of it is all good because I don't have massive drop-offs throughout the video. It's just the beginning. So if I neutralize that at the beginning, then I double my retention possibly, or at least increase it by another third, if nothing else. So I think that gets me to 50, if not 60% retention rates. If I fix that one problem, it gets me to 50 to 60% retention rates, regardless of the, as long as it's a recorded video, not a live stream. I'm probably fine on monetization, but with monetization, my goal is if I increase the number of offers, the things I sell, because I don't sell courses yet. So my goal is to make about 4 to 6 courses over the next 3 years. The next two courses a year for the next 3 years gives me 6 courses, and I know how to keep them updated and relevant. I know how to make them modular. So I think that'll do very well. So then I think that strategy will work extraordinarily well. so I have like an action plan for this. And then on strategy for me, I just have to be much more consistent, which means 1 to 2 edited videos per week and 1 to 2 live streams per week as well for my strategy. Because for my strategy to work, I think I have to make 100 to 200 videos a year for what my plans are, both from a growth funnel for monetization, but also for a subscriber funnel. But then my plan for YouTube Shorts also gets involved there. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to try and experiment in April. In April, if I can pull it off, I'm going to have a YouTube short come out every day in April and see what that impact for the channel is. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to answer questions in under 60 seconds that people search for about content creation and just have one of those come out every day in April. If I make enough of those and I feel good about it, then I will probably see if I can get even maybe more than one every day in April. And then I can do a case study on my YouTube channel of like, hey, I did YouTube shorts every day for 30 days and I made 60 videos. Let's see the case study. And then people will care about that. So I have a case study. So some of this will be, I will take even my own content and turn it into case studies, and those will be big videos. So we'll see what happens. Because then I can say, I tried this, I tried that, I tried this, I tried that. Because I need like 10 videos a year that I can say, I tried this and this happened, because people really care about videos where you can say, I tried this. So, and in general, my channel, if nothing else, my channel needs me to just have 100 evergreen YouTube shorts, unfortunately, just as backfill for my channel, kind of to do it. One, for a case study so that I can just show the data on 100 YouTube shorts, but also because if I make them searchable YouTube shorts, Google is using YouTube shorts for the answer to the questions. So if I answer 100 questions literally about content creation, if I basically use the appendix for this book and the appendix for the book that I'm writing now, then that should give me 100 questions that I can answer. Plus, I can also use the questions that are in Quora and in Reddit, and I can make YouTube shorts from them. Josh says, speaking of YouTube shorts, should I make at least 10 videos? Let's see this one. Hang on. So Josh says, speaking of YouTube shorts, should I make at least 10 videos per content bucket before leveraging shorts? Currently under 100 subs. Josh, if you're under 100 subs, you could start with YouTube shorts now to gain more experience with making content and talking on camera. And I don't think you have to wait per se. I think you can make content on a normal schedule and then make YouTube shorts now because they're easier to make and you'll get experience and they do have growth opportunity. Crayson TV says, hey, Roberto, just want to say thank you for the value you provide. Very helpful. And your book is fire. Love it. I share it to other people to read and purchase. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that support. I appreciate all the support on the book, everybody. I really do. Do you have people working for you? If so, how many? I have people working in my coaching business. I have my personal assistant and I have my operations manager. And other than that, I just hire freelancers. I do all the YouTube thumbnails. I do all the YouTube titles. I do all the YouTube research. I do all of the data case studies. I do all the video editing. I do all the production. And I am also doing all of the work for the course creation right now. Aside from the one I'm working with Andy on, she's doing 60% of that. I'm doing 40% of that. Or maybe it's closer to 70-30 on that one because it's her expertise. So I do the YouTube content as a solo creator at over 500,000 subscribers still. 500,000 subscribers. I've made 1,600 videos on this channel, and I still do all of it. I still all do it. That's why I'm also behind on my other podcast because I still do everything. So, yeah. I was going to hire a video editor house in person locally, and then the pandemic happened. So I'm also on a reset from the pandemic. The last 3 years, I was just really depressed during the pandemic. So I didn't make nearly as much content. I didn't do nearly as much with, brands. I didn't do hardly anything I should have been doing as far as hustling during the pandemic because I just had to work on my mental health. I just had to fix myself. I just had to get over being depressed. And now in a post pandemic world, I seem to be doing more or less just fine. I just have to get back into my video editing grind. But right now I'm on streamer mode. But edited content will keep happening. So, yeah. Question: do you do channel reviews for new YouTubers? I think I'm doing okay. However, insight from a vet is always encouraging and helpful. Yes, I have a link for channel reviews in the description down below. I have a link for that. What about growing one platform versus another? I'm almost at 1,000 on TikTok. I'm 200 away. Should I hit that first before doing YouTube long term? If you're going to post YouTube Shorts, you can grow YouTube Shorts, Instagram, and TikTok at the same time because you're not making new content. You're just posting. So if you're making TikToks, I would go ahead and take those same videos with no watermark, and I would post to YouTube Shorts, and I'd post to Instagram Reels, maybe even to Twitter. So that's what I would probably do. Fire Queen says, I'm very excited. Found your channel years ago. I've learned a lot. So happy to see a fellow nerd crunching data and strategize accordingly. Thank you. Appreciate that. Anthony M says, I want to start a DIY fashion channel, mixing them, turning DIY fashion. I'm not entirely sure what that means. But I would say that's fine if you want to start a channel like that. I would study the niche like we talked about. I would probably crunch a few numbers. Maybe you don't get too extreme like I do. Crunch a few numbers, measure what's going on in the niche. Also, for a lot of you, what you need to do is you need to look at the level of thumbnail that the people that are at the level you want to be at are making in YouTube. And then, like I said, if you whatever niche you're in, if you are not good at thumbnails, use Midjourney, because now you don't have a reason to not make competitive thumbnails for whatever niche you're in. So whatever niche you're in, just like figure out how to start learning and studying Midjourney if you can't use Photoshop or Canva very, very effectively, at least to get the base artwork. Then learn to use Canva or Photoshop good enough to put text on what you need to do to make an effective thumbnail for whatever content you're making. Now, some of you, what I really wish you would do is photography. If you learn photography, if you learn how to use a camera, or you get someone to help you pose and take the photos for you, then that would go a long way towards you being able to make better thumbnails. So let's see here. Nobu says, question, I changed my main topic from DIY credit repair to home buying strategy tips for single women. Views on my channel have plummeted. Should I add in credit videos or continue to focus on my new path? Your audience came for credit repair videos. What I would have done was I would have added home buying videos, but I would have done videos on credit score to buy a house and things like that, so that I have a bridge between these topics. And I would be pivoting the goal to become a personal finance channel. But your views plummeted because you left the value proposition that your audience came for and tried to build a completely different audience. So I would go back to the credit repair videos, sprinkle in videos about home buying tips and strategy, because remember what I said. Remember what I said. 30 videos deep, 10 to 30 videos deep to penetrate a niche. To penetrate a topic or a niche, you got to be patient and you got to put in 10 to 30 videos to penetrate a niche on a topic. So the thing is, I would get 30 videos, 10 to 30 videos deep in my main topic. Then I'd start to sprinkle in my new topic, but I can't leave or abandon my old topic. Because I have to get to 50 videos for sure in my main topic for sure. But so I have to sprinkle in my next topic to build my next bucket. So I have to build my next bucket a little bit at a time. So especially when it's something in a finance type niche. So that's why your views plummeted, is because people came for this and then you posted something else. You got people in the door on a vegan restaurant and then you started wanting to sell barbecue. So when you start a vegan restaurant, you don't get to go ahead and just move on over and say, I'm back to eating meat because you're bored. So what you have to do is strategically, you have to add items to your menu and not take away from what your core audience wanted. And then when you start to get your views to be consistent, you can start thinking about if you really want to continue something. But then you have to keep giving people the new thing that is being consistent. And then you can add a sprinkling of something else and add a sprinkling of something else until you get 10, 30 videos deep to see how it's performing, to see if it's worth pursuing. So we go 10 videos deep on something to see if there's any real hope for it at all. As the earliest I would quit going down a path is 10 videos. Ideally, I really want to commit to making 30 videos about something and then move on. And if something is working within those 30 videos, I want to refine the best of those 30 videos, if not the best of the 10. I want to refine the best 20%, let's say. I want to refine the best 20%, use that as my strategy, then get to another 50 videos total, and then refine the best 20% of that, aka the top 10. Then after I do that, I want to make a mini series of 5 videos on what performed the best. And then I want to use that to inform what I do going forward or make a sequel to that mini series. So yeah. How do I feel about partnering on a podcast versus solo? Solo is easy to make it consistent and reliable. Partners are better and more dynamic and better quality overall content, more clips, more things to do. So yeah. Hey, Roberto, do you have videos on sound and microphones? I see your table with some fancy gadgets. I do. It's a little outdated now. I need to make a new one. Let's see. I see North Leaf Canada did another super chat. Thank you. Thanks, buddy. I'm monetized with, is that 25,000 or is that 250K? I think that's 25,000. Congratulations on that. Yeah, I think that's 25,000. Is that a good milestone? Regarding the content I make, English with Arabic subtitles and then Arabic with English subtitles. If it's working for you and if the views are consistent, then I would keep doing it for now. If the views are consistent, but eventually YouTube is going to release a this feature that like Mr. Beast and some other people have that lets people choose which language, or it defaults to their natural language. So that'll be the best thing for you. But if that's working for now, it's got you this far, then I would keep going if it's working, because you've gotten a significant amount of subscribers. If your views are consistent, I would keep going with that. Also, you might have to keep going with that because that's what you're known for now. So you might need to do that because that's what you're known for. And then I would say when that new feature comes out, it's going to be game changing for channels like yours. So good job. Kate Caden says, Roberto, I just ordered your book and it just arrived. So excited to read it. Thank you. I cannot wait for you to read it. Everyone, if you have the book or you're reading it now, please give it a 5-star rating and a review in Amazon. We finally have over 100 ratings in Amazon. I want to get to 100 reviews. I think we're at 50 reviews for the book. They've been positive, wonderful reviews. So thank you, everybody, for that. But I really need people to come through on ratings and reviews for the book. Also, we have 200 plus people watching live right now. So I definitely need to know that there are more than 200 likes on this video already. But also, I need all 200 of you to buy the book. So there's that. Link is in the description down below. Yeah, YouTube recently made a video about that feature with Mr. Beast. Correct. Something better today said, I'm a new vegan blogger on YouTube. I recently monetized on YouTube, but not getting any money for the videos. What am I doing wrong? You need to look in your monetization settings and make sure that the ads are turned on. Just because your channel got monetized doesn't mean that the ads automatically turned on for you. So you will want to go into the settings in YouTube and you will want to make sure you turn on ads. You may have to do it for all the individual videos actually. Or you could try the bulk selection tool, but yes, you'll want to do that. Speaking English with this guy, got the book, gave it a 5-star. Thank you for giving it a 5-star. Please give it a written review if you have not already. KM Gun Art says, already putting your book on my to buy list. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Fire Queen says, oh my God, you're so generous with your advice and time. I've just taken what you would do to your own titles, the emotions plus ChatGPT, and now I've got amazing titles. Clickbaity, yes, but I can over deliver. And that's the key, right? That's the key. So that makes a big difference. Do shorts count as videos, or are you referring just to long form videos as the 30 videos you refer to? That's a great question. So when I'm talking about, when I say videos, I mean videos. And when I say shorts, I mean shorts. And when I say live streams, I mean lives. So lives, I mean live streams. Or when I say live, I'm referring to live stream or streaming. And when I say videos, I'm referring to video uploads, video on demand, not shorts. When I say shorts, I mean shorts. So when I say videos, I am not counting shorts. I am talking good old fashioned YouTube videos. When that's what I mean when I say that. So when I say videos, I do not mean YouTube shorts. I consider them their own thing. They have a different tab in YouTube. There's videos, there's shorts, and there's lives. And I count them as separate because YouTube does. So when I say shorts, I mean shorts. And when I say videos, I mean good old fashioned YouTube videos that are not shorts. So that's what I mean. So yeah, that was a good question, Lenita Johnson. What kind of sound system as a mic stereo should I use for my live dance fitness class? Thank you. Ooh, maybe one of the wireless headsets that are used for speaking engagements like the ones I do, the ones that go over the ear. And you probably remember those from like the fitness and Tybo era on TV. So I would say what you should probably do is if you're doing a live dance fitness class, you might need some kind of interface. I use a Rodecaster over here, or you might even need someone to help you with this that can be a producer. So like what I would do is I probably have a headset microphone. And so with that headset microphone, I can, talk and do the talking portion if I'm going to talk and do it live. And then in terms of feeding in the sound, probably need help with someone monitoring audio and being a producer, and someone who can cue up music that then goes through a mixer. So then my mic goes in through the mixer and it's on channel 1, and then they can play sound and whatnot through it in the background. Primary example is I have like a sound bank queued up here. So primary example. And this is my own copyright free music that I have. So now I can have this music queued up. I can even set it to loop, or I can have, I'm my own producer. So I can just sit here and I can control the audio, and I can mix the sound and whatnot and control that in the background so it's not too high or anything. And I could talk over that, and then my audience would be able to hear it. The problem you might run into is isolating audio in terms of what's going in through your soundboard, or probably not. Actually, then again, maybe not. Because if you just have your microphone and then there's the soundboard, that could probably work for the live. And then you could probably have the output rerouted for the speakers in your fitness center for the attendees if there's in-person attendees. So in theory, you just really need kind of like an audio producer to manage this for you and to set up your system. But they should be able to do it because it's very similar to the AV setup that is done at public speaking events. Oh, you're trying to give me a super chat, but it's not available in your audio area. Yeah, it's not. Super chats and monetization is not necessarily available everywhere. Niece.exe says, how are you doing today? First time actually interacting with you. Been watching you as far back as 2016. Guys, there's a lot of your audience that are silent supporters. This person has been watching me apparently for 7 years, and this is their first time, 6-7 years, and this is their first time commenting. So, silent support is real, y'all. Let's see. Any advice on starting a channel reviewing CrossFit gyms from the perspective of a coach? Actually, I would do something like Real Fitness Coach reviews the worst gym in LA, and then you show like the 2 stars out of 5 on the thing. And I would basically do stuff like that, or it's like reviewing the worst gym ever in whatever city you're in, right? And like reviewing the worst 5 gyms in New York. I would I tried the best and worst gyms in Brooklyn. And then, so I would do stuff like that. That'd be the kind of thing, the approach that I would do. Miss Houston Journey says, I love your Create Something Awesome Today podcast on Audible. Yes, please. Also, as long as you're reviewing the book, when you get a chance, listen to the podcast episodes. We're starting a new season for this year. So we did the last season. We wrapped up. We've been on hiatus. We're doing a new season this year, but go back and listen to it and listen to the interviews, listen to the solo episodes, and listen to it on Audible. You can listen to it on Audible for free, but to game the algorithm in yet another system, I need ratings and reviews of my podcast in Audible as well, so that when it shows up in search, it also has reviews, and that would help me a ton. The Chocolate Drive says, I learned so much from your content, Roberto. I implemented your strategies from inception on our channel and see consistent 10 plus subscriber growth per week. Nice. 10 subscribers per week is substantial, believe it or not. As for a small YouTube channel that's starting, getting just 10 subscribers per week is really good. Eventually, when you start to get 10 subscribers per day, you're going to feel excellent. You're going to feel excellent when you can get to 10 subscribers per day. It doesn't sound like a lot, but once you get 10 subscribers per week, you know that you're on a trajectory to where you're getting like 50 subscribers a month. So you know you're going to make like, 1,000, like, 500 to 1,000 subscribers in a year. When you start getting 10 subscribers a day, you know you're going to get like 300, 500 subscribers a month. And then you're like, oh, this is happening. And so you can start to feel like you're going to get to 10,000 subscribers at some point when you get that momentum. And it might take a while. It might take some people 2 years. The biggest thing is a lot of them, a lot of people, their big thing is they get discouraged and they quit. They don't grow fast enough and they don't get satisfied. But if they knew that like the real goal is to just get to like get monetized in a year and then maybe get to 10,000 subscribers over a 2-year period, and that's kind of like your initiation. This is your schooling of being a YouTuber, and that like the first 4 years is kind of like trying to graduate high school or something like that. If people looked at it from that perspective, it'd be like a healthier mindset to growing a channel. But instead, everyone's trying to blow up in a year and go viral. And so I think that like that idea and seeing like all the viral stuff and only seeing that success and not measuring success accurately just drives YouTubers crazy and it makes them quit. Hey, this is Mars. Love your content and encourage, keep up the excellent work. I appreciate the advice and we'll try to put it into practice. Appreciate you. For the music, I actually hired a producer on Fiverr to produce these tracks for me. There's an AI program I'm using now, kind of like how I use Midjourney sometimes or ChatGPT. I have an AI that now makes music, and Google has a music AI generator. I think it's called Google ML. So yeah. Hey, Roberto, any suggestions for a channel that has 86K trying to get to 100 a day? We put out daily content and live stream twice a week. Actually, yes. So what I would do if you're trying to get from 86,000 subscribers to 100,000 subscribers and you're trying to do it in maybe the least amount of time possible from where you are, I can give you a little bit of advice on this one. So in this case, as somebody who has over 100,000 subscribers, what I can tell you is go into your analytics over the last 90 days and then find in the last 90 days the videos that got you the most subscribers. Because like in the last 90 days, there's something in there that probably got you 1,000, 2,000 subscribers. Like there's probably some videos like that. Find the videos of the last 90 days that got you the most subscribers and make sequels or a series based on the topic that covered and milk that for the content that you're focusing on going forward over the next 90 days. And then you can probably supercharge the channel by spending the next 90 days doing exclusively either sequels or a series based on what got the most subscribers in the previous 90 days, if that makes sense. Robertina asked, hey, Roberto, what would cause CPM to go low recently? I noticed my CPM went very low, like down 60%. Otherwise, I enjoy learning from you, especially from these live streams. So CPM drops happen that have nothing to do with you a lot of the time. It's that the market, very much like the stock market, it's advertisers, and advertisers can be seasonal. Advertisers could have individual supply chain issues like they did during the pandemic. Advertisers could have any number of things going on in real time. And if their ad budgets dry up quarter to quarter, or there's an incident in the market, or something happened in an industry that does the majority of the ads on your channel. Like most of you, you do not know. Most of you do not look into, well, what ads play on my YouTube videos? What ads does my channel get? What ads make me money on YouTube? A lot of you don't look at that. And so you don't know what advertisers, what industries are like supporting your channel. And so then when there's fluctuations in the market in those industries, you're not prepared for it. And you're like, where did this come from? Where did this happen? And plus there's also general economic fears and recession. And right now there's like stuff where like ad dollars could literally plummet over the next month. because of some things happening in banking. So yeah, that's one of the other reasons I don't like relying on ad revenue. Ad revenue can be nice. Don't get me wrong. People think I dunk on ad revenue. I'm warning people because then they see things like 30, 60% drops. And in other careers and other industries, again, this is why I talk about it in the book. There are other industries and careers that have really stable income. Your biggest problem will be, oh, maybe you get fired, but it's not that, oh, my income will randomly go down 30%, 60%, shoot up 30%, 20%, 120%. Like the fluctuations in the market, like really make YouTubers uncomfortable and content creators in general uncomfortable. Same thing for creator funds. It's day-to-day changing market conditions. So if you want stability comes from things like long-term brand deals, for example, recurring affiliate income, where you get like monthly recurring revenue from commissions for software as a service, like I do. So it's brand deals, it's software as a service that helps a lot. And then for cash flow is it's not live streaming because you still get paid out once a month with YouTube with ad revenue and live streaming. The same thing with memberships. It's selling your own products is where cash flow comes from. So cash flow is your own products. Stability is sponsorships and affiliate marketing. And then like ad revenue and donations and things like that, that becomes fluctuating, that becomes intermittent. So that, if possible, should kind of be, here is the bonus money I don't rely on. And then like the consistency to pay your bills, getting a stable sponsor pays your bills. With me, it was stable affiliate marketing first to pay the bills. Then it was stable sponsors. And then I didn't use that for bills. I used that more for like other things. For me, ad revenue tends to go toward taxes. So for me, technically, affiliate marketing covers living expenses because it's recurring monthly revenue and I know what it's going to be very, very consistently. So that's that. The business expenses in terms of my team can be paid out of the awesomecreatoracademy.com stuff with my coaching pretty regularly. Other than that, I would cover them with the brand deal money. And then any business expenses, any debt, any of that stuff, that can go with the brand deal extra money. Cash flow in the other areas goes largely to retirement and investment on my side. And then I would say then like, yeah, the rest is probably like taxes or debt, stuff like that. So it's like, those are like having different income streams and knowing which ones are stable, which ones are volatile, which ones are active, which ones are more passive, like breaking it up in the monetization thing. So like in this grid, in this schema, monetization is not just about how much money you make. It's also about diversity of income streams. So the thing is, you could score high on the dollar amount and you could score lower on diversity. And then you could score high on cash flow, but maybe low on like stability, like recurring. So there's different ways to vet this. There are things from this that I'm going to break down into like charts of here. Like there's like another slide I'll create at some point that says like, and then here's kind of how to start scoring yourself on points for these to start to kind of average it out to like get and build out kind of a point system. Because then you start to say, oh, I need to think about that. Oh, I need to think about that. Oh, I need to think about the specifics of that because I think it will help. So yeah. Technically T, keep crushing it as always, man. Appreciate you, man. Technically T is about to be at 100K subscribers soon. Let's see. Roger Experience says, I have multiple podcast idea. I have the team, time, and editor. You recommend different channels or an all-in-one channel for the best path to monetize? Ooh. You could do a big podcast network channel if the audience is exactly the same. If not, then I would build a brand. And I would give each of the podcasts their own YouTube channel, which you actually probably should do, is build them as individual brands. And then you can have like kind of a parent network and have a company. A good idea for you to understand this one is look at valuetainment. So Valuetainment has a brand, and they have Valuetainment and Valuetainment Money, and they have different talents on these as well. And then they have the PBD podcast. So they have Valuetainment, the PBD podcast, Valuetainment Money, hosted by Adam Sosnick, and then they also have a talent, Jedediah BL, and she has her own channel. And then they have clip shows after that. So I would consider building a network and then building individual siloed channels that are sub brands, and then the Valuetainment brand as a model for how to build this IP. So, yeah. Roberto, is there an audiobook version? There will be an audiobook version of my book. It's like, so it's hard between sometimes the streaming to save my voice and do stuff. But what I'm working on is by the end of the summer, there will be an audio version of this. It'll probably release in August, the audio version of this. I'm also currently writing my second book, which will release next year. So that book's much more intense, probably a little thicker too, on being a full-time content creator specifically. But the audio version of my book will be out this fall, like in August, like probably around the anniversary of the book release. But in the meantime, it's Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. And it can be bought at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and basically anywhere where you can get books. Question is 90 days the best way to see the viewpoint of what we need to do content-wise, and what other metrics should we be looking for in the advanced tab? I would say most of the time that I like, let me switch tabs. Let me switch tabs here. So most of the time, I'm going to try to share analytics with you. Most of the time in advanced mode, like in general, 90 days can be really good. 90 days is a strong indicator for a lot of things. 90 days is a strong indicator for a lot of things. And then in an ideal world, you figure out, how do I turn my 90-day performance into my monthly performance? In an ideal world, that's what I look at, is what would it take to turn my 90-day performance into my monthly performance? And so what I start to look at is then I go, okay, well, how many videos did I publish during that time? So I was like, okay, so if in 90 days I published 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So like that tells me if in 90 days I've published 10 videos to get these results, then I need to publish 10 videos a month to get these results. So that's one thing that this tells me, that I interpreted them like, got it. So that's the level I need to be playing at. Fair game. Then that tells me that, okay, this is kind of what I would be on track to expect, and that would be my new monthly, and I could extrapolate from that. So I used 90 days to start determining that. Then I can look at advanced mode, and what I would look at is 90 days, and then I prioritize by my goal, by whatever my goal is. So for most of you, your goal will be subscribers. I don't need you to worry about individual video views as much as I need you to worry about total views for the month or whatever, or for the year even, because you get paid on the total views. It doesn't matter what the views per upload are. Views for upload are validation and status that young YouTubers like to use. Okay. For those of us who pay bills, this number, the number of like just the raw number of views per month, that's what your paycheck is. So I care about my paycheck. I don't really care about how I get to that paycheck. I care about what my paycheck is. So I would worry less about views per upload, and I'd worry about views per month, because I use views per month to determine how much I get paid. So I start to worry about that. Subscriber status is upward channel growth, and it's status that might result in more brand deals. So I care about subscribers because of that. I really care about revenue. So we all care about what our paycheck is. So we use views to get to there. So views value is that this many views will help me get this many subs and help me make this much money. That is the value views have. So I'm less worried about individual videos performance and more worried about channel performance. Big YouTubers tend to be younger and they don't like that idea and they don't care because they care about feeling like every video performed the best. Their audience likes seeing big numbers and they're catering to young people who also are in that kind of modality of YouTube. When your audience is over 25, like majority of you watching my content, you're over 25, many of you are over 30, and many of you are over 45. So you guys really care less about how well my content does, and you care more about how well my content serves you. So I tend to worry about it a little bit less, and I care a lot more about, well, how am I paying taxes? How am I paying the mortgage? So I care more about that. And I care about subscriber growth because I have a goal of getting to 1 million subscribers at some point. So if I increase the number of subscribers, I accelerate my trajectory to that goal. If I increase the number of revenue, I have more options to hire, get back time, do things, which frees me up to then finally, find a wife, have kids, do that whole thing. And so the goal is to figure out, or rather the plan, I should say, the plan is to use data to say, well, what is my goal? And then I reduce everything to, I don't need watch hours because I am already monetized. So I can nix that one. Okay, great. Impression click-through rate. I only care about it if I know what traffic source it comes from. The reason that your views and your click-through rate don't seem to make sense is because it's an average across all your channel sources. So the traffic sources. So then the only thing that really matters is to get as far as click-through rate is only knowing what the click-through rates are on an individual video on its individual traffic source. Probably not as useful for the channel as a whole, but it can tell a pattern, and the pattern becomes that search generally will have a higher percentage click-through rate, but your overall click-through rate will be the average of all traffic sources, And there are some traffic sources that kind of are irrelevant because they get you the least amount of views. So that's why you have to learn how to read these numbers. And so for that, if I really, really want to know, if I really, really want to care, what I would do is I go to, like, let's say I go to this video and I go to its analytics. This is good numbers. I want to do more videos like this. So what does that mean? That means like I should make a YouTube video about strategy like at least once a week, because if I upload a video on YouTube strategy once a week, and if by the end of a year it got me 1,000, 2,000 subscribers or something like that, this one has done it since January. So that's like in a 3-month or so period. So it's like, oh, then I should probably like make more of these videos, because if I make a video like this at least once a week, then, oh crap, that's going to help me in my goal of getting to 10,000 subscribers a month, getting 100,000 subscribers a year. So, oh crap, I should do that. So if I make 50 of these a year, then that's like 60, 70,000 subscribers I could have. So yeah, oh, make more. Like, and again, with this, it's a type of video that I tend to make and that I could make more of, and I can make it effective. It's balanced in traffic because it got 35% from the YouTube homepage, 30% from search, and then 16% from suggested, and then the rest is split across YouTube's other features. So really strong. Video is still relevant, still getting tons of views, even in real time, still getting hundreds of views a day, clearly. So then if I go over to the reach tab, I can look at the click-through rate, and the click-through rate seems low, but the problem is, well, it'd be more important to know the click-through rate for each individual traffic source. So that's kind of more important for me to know. So I click into the more for just this video. I get the traffic source for just this video, and then I get to see that that's an average. And I get to see that it performed the worst on click-through rate in suggested videos. So I'm like, okay, whatever. It got impressions there, but it performed the least there. It performed astronomically better in search, but the result was they got roughly the same amount of views. The most important thing was how it affected on the YouTube homepage. I got next to nothing from notifications, but it did give me my first initial views, almost nothing from externally promoting it. It performed really well in playlist where people found it, but it still resulted in a very low amount of views, but every little bit helps. So when I break down where the views came from and how I got them and how effective the click-through rate was, how many impressions I got, it tells me what to make a priority. And the thing is, as much as people obsess about suggested videos, for this video to get almost 70,000 views, it was not really that meaningful. It got the minority of them in terms of its overall views. So browse, the homepage was the best. And that came down to the title and the thumbnail and the fact that it's an evergreen video. And it says, use this strategy to grow on YouTube in 2023, advice for new YouTubers. So what this title does effectively is it actually uses active voice very well, and it uses an action word. Use this strategy. So that's do this. That's literally do this to accomplish this. And then I go on to say who it is for. So I targeted the audience in that title specifically. I aligned to that viewer's goal, and I told them to take action. So I made the utility of the video extremely clear. The value of the video was clear. That's why the views did very well. And then you can see here that it did very well algorithmically purely with YouTube. So it came from YouTube recommending my content. So also, this is how you know someone's not buying views, by the way, is if they show you their data and like their views come from so overwhelmingly YouTube recommending something. I don't have to buy views. And then you can see on my videos where my subscribers come from. They come from individual performing videos, and the conversion rate from subscriber to views is very high. So that's why I don't need views to get high subscriber counts, is because individual videos will carry like the channel. Like there are like, if I do 20 videos that are specific, even if they didn't get a ton of views, they could get 100,000 views and give me 4,000 subscribers off of the 100,000 views. And that could be like 10 videos. 10 videos could give me 50,000 subscribers if they're the correct video. And if you do that enough years in a row, you just end up with a high subscriber count if you do it long enough. And there were years even where I was getting 10 to 12,000 subscribers a month for years. And then during the pandemic, I didn't upload hardly. I uploaded a little bit during the pandemic. The pandemic break crushed the momentum, but now I'm getting momentum back, but it's about upload frequency. And you saw that in 90 days of 10 videos in 90 days, I got 10K subs on that. So if I get back to where I can do 2 videos to 3 videos a week somehow, then I probably, if it's the right content, can get slowly back to 10K a month if I make that normal. And so if I make that normal, then it's 100K a year or more, which then makes it a countdown to 1 million subscribers off of momentum. And the main thing is just to not take long breaks anymore. So that's how you determine these things through data. And that's how you like go, oh crap, if I make 100 videos that do well and I average, like, even if this isn't the number, because this will get 2.5 thousand subscribers more by the end of the year. So this will be like a 4,000 subscriber video by the end of the year, probably 120K video by the end of the year. So on a long enough timeline, if I make enough videos, I know that they can average to 1,000 subscribers per video, with the average from the top videos versus the bottom videos. So if I make 100 to 100 videos in a year, I know exactly what the outcome is. But I haven't made 100 videos in a year since 2020. So during the pandemic, since I didn't do that, I know that that's where like the fall off is. So I can measure my data in a super exacting way because of that. And then you could look at things like revenue performance, and you could try to extrapolate how much money you're going to make off of that by doing certain things. Primary example would be if I know that, my videos, if they do well enough, I can make 500 to 1,000 on AdSense with them. I know 100 videos then, could be, depending on how I do, or if we go back to like the 90-day analytics thing, we go to the 90-day analytics. where was it? If we go to the 90-day analytics, if I normalize the 90-day analytics to be 1 month analytics, if I normalize the 90-day analytics to make those the 30-day analytics, then the channel goes to 100,000 ad revenue and about 120,000 new subscribers per year, which then if I normalize that, it puts me on a 3-year trajectory if I maintain it to 1 million subscribers. However, if it compounds, then it becomes 2 years, because the compounding effect and being close to 1 million could surge the channel. So again, it's a matter of what you can normalize and what you can make statistically relevant. You can also track real-time data, which I do a lot, to start to figure out what subjects have more demand over a cycle of time, to say in real time I should make more of blank, or this will perform well if I make this next week of looking at it. If I make blah 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 next week, that will do well. So make 3 videos and release them on blah 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 next week, because in real time the subject matter has demand. Even on an old video, there's demand for something. So I could look at that and look at what to fill out in my content buckets based on real-time data as well, of what's performing now and why. And so that can be indicative things using real-time data. You can use the most recent 10 video uploads in a period as data, or rather the best performing in of this period. So you could use that. So my videos also are so evergreen that I don't worry when sometimes a video like this, like I did a great video with Pat Flynn and how his Deep Pocket Monster channel blew up to 500K. It's a great interview. It's an hour-long watch. I would definitely say most of you should watch it after this video. So that's if you have time, because it's a great interview. The comments are wonderful on it. The views are low. The comments are wonderful. That video might be theoretically underperforming, but long term, the performance value on it is probably more toward credibility. It didn't make a lot of ad revenue. It's not getting a lot of views. It's not getting a lot of subs, but the engagement on that video in terms of what it might do for my credibility is very strong. Also, it seems to be reaching a different audience. So that could be helpful long term. In terms of the impression data and the traffic sources, it seems to get a lot of its views again from browsing suggested. I'm sorry, browse mostly. It underperforms with suggested. When people share it, the click-through rate's high, but it resulted in not getting as many views from shares. The average view durations on it are really interesting. So you just have to kind of look at things. Not everything that you make serves the same purpose. So some videos' purpose is a video to make money. Some videos are meant to get you traffic and views. Some videos are meant to get revenue. Some videos are meant to build your reputation. Some videos are to help you get a feature in YouTube or something else. What I will say is, in terms of my content among my live streams, my live stream views are to the moon. My live stream views are doing really well. So in terms of views on live streams, those are going to the moon. Those are doing really well. Some fall off, some are hit or miss, whatever, but a lot of those are doing really well. So even out of the last 2 live streams, last 3 live streams, actually, if you look at the numbers for the last 3-4 live streams, I'm not hurting. So, so I really am kind of determined to not, like, I'm in a different position in my YouTube career where I'm like not going to worry as much about individual upload views. I'm only going to worry about channel views. But I can say that because I make good money, not only on the ad revenue, but on the other diversified revenue from it. So it's a very much your mileage may vary. Picking out what data to look at is largely determined by what goals you're trying to achieve. Roger says they're the same audience. What would I recommend? if they're the same audience, that's rough. I'd have to see it. I'd have to see what it is, who the audience is, and I'd have to see the content. I'd have to see the content. That's probably more of a consult to figure out, because I'd have to also know everything about what the goals are, who the talent is, how much videos can be made per week on the podcast channel, what the monetization strategy is, what the brand's overall goal is, who the audience is, what their demographics are. There's a lot. There's a lot. I can't just guess that one with super chats. Twintastic Kitchen says, question, I bring a unique perspective by combining productivity and meal planning. Is this what you mean by value? Any advice for value and strategy portion? So value is why they click on the video. Value is, what does the viewer want? What does the viewer expect? What is the viewer interested in? What are they attracted to? What are they excited by? So value is about what the viewer cares about and how clearly you communicated that and how clearly you specialize in that. So now the goal is to optimize around trying to make your value more unique. So in slide 2, I get into this a little bit more. So in the value, strategy, and quality portion, okay, if you manage to do value and strategy, you can have influence. So if I know what to make, how often to make it, and I've got that down, and I also know why I'm making it and why they will watch, and I figured all that out, and I know what they want to watch, what they value, and I know how to present that value. I know how to choose the right topics. I know how to choose the right topics. I know how to package that topic with a perfect thumbnail. I know how to communicate that with a perfect title. And I can anticipate the timing and trends that this audience will give a crap about and know how to get them. And then I'm posting enough content and I'm posting the right content. I've got that dialed in and I'm presenting and packaging it perfectly. I got 5 out of 5 title. I got a 5 out of 5 thumbnail. And I've nailed the timing. This is the time. This is what they care about. This is the season. This is the thing. And then I've got all of that. And I know I'm getting views and I'm consistent in those views because I communicated perfectly what they want to watch and gave it to them through value and strategy. That's how I dominate in influence. And if I can get the retention high and the quality is high and my style is unique and my storytelling is unique, then I'm being impactful because this is an experience that they know they're not getting anywhere else. So if the experience visually, aesthetically, sound, personality, storytelling, they feel like this is an experience, I don't get this from anybody else, it's impactful. And then I also am influencing them because it's like, this is what they want and how they want it. If you can figure out this is what they want, how they want it, and when they want it, and I always know why they're going to watch this, then you have impact and influence, and you have a unique enough thing that is extraordinarily hard to duplicate, and therefore you have a competitive advantage. And when you see people who get massive views consistently on YouTube, that's because they have mastery over all three of these. And then they probably make enough money. They probably aren't completely optimizing that, but most YouTubers do focus their energy on all three of these to get as big as possible. And then they take what money comes from just doing that, and they probably don't think too hard about their business. That's the truth. That's the truth. Okay. So that's what my thought is for around your question and trying to understand value, quality, and strategy and the overlap and intersectionality of that is if I can get you to click on something and I know how to package it properly, and I know what it is. And I'm also doing that and doing it in a consistent way. That's where the alignment of value and strategy has, which means I can influence the niche. I can influence the niche because I'm probably making stuff, and then other people are probably copying the thing. So the thing is, I can become a trendsetter. I can set the trend, and people probably want to copy me if I do value and strategy. I'm influencing the viewer. I'm probably also influencing the niche. But if I also have quality that is almost impossible to compete with and unique enough from an experience standpoint, like a unique experience that I'm making too. And I've also figured out an angle that I can take that other people can't, that unique perspective we're talking about, unique perspective, but they still are excited about it and they value it. It's unique, but it's not so unique to alienate the audience or be hyper niche. Then the quality is really good. It's extraordinary quality and therefore very hard to compete with me on quality. And I have high value, but also unique value that is very difficult to duplicate because I've created a strong strategy and I understand myself and my audience. And I'm firing on all cylinders for these. Then I've made unique content that lets me dominate the niche. People might try to copy me, but they will fail. And my impact really affects what people expect, and it starts to set a standard. Examples of this are MKBHD and CoffeeZilla. They're really great at what they do, and their content is very difficult to duplicate. Their content is very difficult to duplicate. Another example is Eric. Another example in terms of female content creator, it's Michelle Carre. Ryan Trahan. They have levels of quality that are largely impossible for like a working class content creator to duplicate. So one way to stand out is when, okay, no one with a part-time job can duplicate my content because the quality is too high for them to do it. That becomes like one part of it. Then number two is, oh, wow, even a full-time content creator would struggle to get my quality. And then I can be consistent and strategic and make good content consistently of high quality, but that's really thoughtful to where I know the purpose my content is going to serve and I can package it perfectly for my audience. And I created demand. So one, I'm impacting the niche because I move the goalpost on standards, and then I'm influencing it because now like everything is compared to my thing, and I set the standard and I create the trends. If I can set the gold standard and I can create the trends, then that's where in this Venn diagram, I'm doing value, quality, and strategy. And I have unique content that performs very well and is optimized to perform that way consistently. And is growing me and is obviously growing me. So I hope that answers that. Tam Phils Solomon says, how to start a live stream. I only have 50 subscribers and I'm my biggest fan on my channel. Well, StreamYard is a really good tool for live streams. The other thing you have to do is go in your settings and turn on live streams in your channel settings. Then it takes 24 hours to be approved for that. And then a good tool is to use StreamYard to make it easier. And then you can do some of the fancy things I'm doing. Do you need a sense of humor to do live streaming? It depends on who your audience is. I do not need a sense of humor as much as I just need to be smart. So for me, I can get away with not being funny. I'm a little sarcastic. I'm a little funny. I'm a little entertaining, but I get away with what I get away with because I am smart, to some degree charming, and to a very good degree successful. So I can make up for not being funny. I'm funny. Oh, isn't that interesting? More than I'm funny. Haha. Let's see. Fixed Point. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Hey, Roberto, I have a normal CPM of $50 to $90 yearly. 4 days ago, CPM dropped to $5 for less than half my videos. I got a message of invalid traffic on my videos. Any way to fix this? YouTube is no help. I can admit when the answer to a question for me is I literally do not know. I do not know. That sounds like somebody might have done an attack on your channel potentially, but I would reach out to Team YouTube on Twitter and have them investigate it, because I really actually don't know with that one. That question even stumps me. That is weird. So even for me, that is a weird, obscure thing that even I don't have the answers for. But there may be an attack on your channel. Your best option is to go into twitter.com and reach out to @Team YouTube on twitter.com. So yeah. Super chatting in MX, so his audience might be Mexican. That's a good point. That's fair. See, this is why I would have to know more details about that one. Yeah. Yeah, no. That is bizarre with like fixed points channel. Like that's super bizarre. That's abnormal. Like, so even I'm stumped on that one. Like, you know, you found an obscure thing in YouTube that even stumps me. Yeah. Totally weird. I think I answered most of what I wanted to talk about when it came to content strategy. So we went over how to basically build your topics for content strategy. I guess the main thing we didn't talk about is how to find your niche, which we can do another video, but we talked about how to niche instead of how to find your audience. We talked about how to narrow to an audience. So we basically went with, okay, niche down to an audience so we know what their interests are, build content buckets around the interest of said audience, then use that to build out video ideas in each of those buckets around building a 100 video strategy. And what we could do is we can make 5 content buckets and go with 20 video ideas for each content bucket to help round us out. We can post 2 videos a week with among these topics and rotate so we're not bored. So we're avoiding that. Then we have to write effective titles for these things. And we figured out that we can write effective titles by, if we can't do it on our own, we come up with our titles, we put them into ChatGPT, then we tell it to rewrite those titles and use, action words, active voice, and things of that nature. And that maybe we ask it to specifically help us create titles that can trigger emotion, such as either tension, anxiety, curiosity, or desire. And then we refine our titles that way. We figured out that we can improve our video thumbnails using Mid-Journey. Let me switch screens over here. So, we could use something like Mid-Journey, and we can generate artwork that we can use to make our thumbnails, either make our thumbnails or make assets for our thumbnails to make our thumbnails, and or even give inspiration for our thumbnails. So we can use that. And so then we can get better thumbnails. So we know that, okay, if we're bad at titles, ChatGPT is our tool. If we're bad at thumbnails, Mid-Journey is our tool. So then we're still stuck with having to actually make good content. We're still stuck with having to have good ideas and then actually execute on those ideas well. We can just use this to help us with packaging and communicating the value better. So we use that to communicate value. We use topic, title, thumbnail, timing, trends. We can use that to communicate the value effectively. Then we have to actually deliver on quality. Quality is an experience. So it's production, performance, and personality. Production is video, lighting, and audio. Performance is your on-camera communication, charisma, and your ability to connect with the audience emotionally. And then personality is style, structure, and storytelling. And so that's quality. So we now know how to do that. Okay, cool. Then we need to know strategy. We need to know, what are we uploading and why are we uploading it? Why will they watch? What are we uploading? Why will they watch? Okay, why are we uploading? What purpose does it serve for us? How often are we uploading? We kind of figured that out. We're going to build a 100 video a year strategy. You could reduce that to 50 if you really need to, if your stuff is harder to make. Okay. And in terms of when to upload, like when is largely down to just do it when people are active, aware, and awake. Don't post at like midnight or something like that. Just post midday, if nothing else, for where your largest audience is. So that's like when to post, midday of when your largest, midday for the location of your largest overall pool of audience. So that's when to post. How much to post? 1 to 2 videos a week, 100 videos a year if you can manage it. Okay. What to post and how much of that? We figured it out. We could probably do 5 content buckets, 20 video ideas for each content bucket, or we can make individual mini series and we can go that route. So that's a strategy we can use. So we have a lot of different video strategies we can use around our content. And like I said, value proposition is about what do I bring to the table that's unique and interesting, obviously, but then on top of that, how do I package that effectively in terms of my topic, title, thumbnail, and timing? And do trends influence this at all? And so that is, that's what we have to figure out. Johnny Q, it depends on your goals. Your channel's not dead if it's making money. So that could be it. A channel's dead. That's largely people's perception of something. So if you're at the same number of subs for years, well, maybe that's the sub cap for the topic. Maybe that's the sub cap for your personality. Maybe that's okay. So what? Are you getting views? Are you making money? Like the problem I have with YouTube and modern YouTube is how much people focus on status versus utility. Like status versus utility is a big thing. So it's like, I mean, there are people who say channels are dead all the time. It's like, but do you know that those channels are dead? Because the thing is, like, if a channel is dead, but the channel is making like $100,000 a year, quote unquote, if the channel is dead from the outside looking in, right? But on the inside looking out, the channel allows the creator to make like a certain amount of effort and they make $100,000 a year. Who cares? Right? So not me. So that's a thing. Oh, is it getting subscribers and everything like that? It's making money. Who cares? I mean, I think you can care about that a lot more when you're younger. Or again, if you just, I always wanted to be a YouTuber, then it's a status thing. But that's status, that's not utility. And so the thing is that depends is like, why are you doing it? Are you doing it to be a full-time content creator? Because the channel doesn't have to be big to make you a full-time content creator. It just has to make money. Or are you caring about status and acknowledgement and being patted on the head for making viral videos or getting views or getting subs? Or are you doing a career, doing something you like doing, or that you at least don't hate, that lets you, maybe be present for your family or something like that? And are you making enough money doing it? Like that, you have to decide what you want your YouTube experience to be and what you want your priorities to be. And a lot of people, it's based in something very emotional, which is fine, by the way. That's fine. Everyone's different. I expect everyone to be a career content creator or to take it hyper seriously. But I also think people need to figure out what version of YouTube they're doing. And the career path is very different than the status path. And the status and career path is different than the hobby path. So the thing is, you have to figure out, are you in this to do a fun hobby? Are you in this to do a career? So it has to definitely make money. Or are you in this because you want some status? And so people who worry about a channel being dead, when we say dead, I'm like, well, so you're broke, right? Your channel doesn't make any money. It's broke. That's what I would think. If someone says dead channel, I'm like, so they're not making any money. So they're back to going to a 9-to-5 job, right? And then, and so that's where my mind goes. Like, well, no. Oh, it's getting views or whatever, but they're not growing in subs. I'm like, well, then who cares, right? So, but that's me. That's just, it's just my perspective. So Ben, Sai in Game says, I want the silver play button though. Then you care about status. If I don't get a gold play button but I make $1 million, I don't care. I know that's easy for me to say because I already have a silver play button, but like if I have to choose between, if my choices are I get a gold play button and I make 300K, and I never get a gold play button but I make $1 million a year, I pick the $1 million a year. But that might be, we might be different ages to where that might be very, very much a like just age maturity type situation in life. So that could be a thing. Seth says, if I have a music channel, is occasionally changing the visual layout a good idea if I feel like the viewer retention has been dropping? Feel like the viewer retention has been dropping, then try to change something visually. But if it's a music channel, I'm not even sure if the visual is why it's dropping, because people use that passively. Yeah. So yeah, I would yeah. So with music channels, people listen passively. So the visuals could help, but I'm not sure that's the reason. According to Cicely, is doing collabs with other YouTubers a good way to grow my subscribers? After 50,000 subscribers, maybe. After you already have 50,000 subscribers, maybe. Collabs are not what they used to be in YouTube, because YouTube's a platform more than it's a community. The age of collabs really doing something was a long time ago. Now, unless it's like deeply ingrained into the content, YouTubers don't care about it as much. So like only people in your own niche, and only like at 50,000 subscribers, and mostly from people at your own level or a little bit lower, or at your own level or a little bit higher. But you really don't like, I mean, I got like, when I've gotten the few handful of times that I've gotten shot, as much as you guys would love to get 3,000 or 8,000 subscribers for where you're at, I was already over 100,000 subscribers, right? I was already over 100,000, over a silver play button, right? So I think I was like 250,000 subscribers. I was at 250,000 subscribers. I got a couple of shout outs from some big YouTubers. I'm talking people with like 1 million, 10 million subscribers, right? Collectively, YouTubers who have mentioned me, shouted me out, or put me in a video at some point, collectively, I think it's people collectively 100 million subscribers collectively, or something like that. Shout outs have only ever given me, even from mega YouTubers, one mega YouTuber with like 10 million subscribers, a shout out gave me like maybe 5,000 subscribers from that shout out. And this person had like 10 million subscribers. And I got like maybe 5,000, 6,000 subscribers from it, which I'm very grateful for, by the way. But relatively speaking, pool of their audience drop in the bucket. Now, if you were a small YouTuber, that'd be, oh my God, yeah. But like shout outs do not do what people think they do. And sometimes they actually kind of hurt a channel sometimes. So a lot of times the way the audience is today, shout outs don't work the way they used to. So I don't think that collabs and shout outs grow a channel to the degree that people think they do. However, collaborating offline with other creators, helping each other with titles, thumbnails, ideas, and stuff like that, that helps small YouTubers a lot. When you're a small YouTuber, if you get like with 4 other YouTubers in your niche, 3 or 4 other YouTubers in your niche, no more really than that, and y'all always brainstorm, and you're in a text and DMs and stuff like that, and y'all are brainstorming titles, brainstorming thumbnails, brainstorming ideas, helping each other refine your stuff, telling people, hey, your intro was too long, that kind of stuff, then that is the thing that does positively impact your channel. Am I going live next week? That's a maybe. That's a maybe on me going live next week, next Sunday. That's a big maybe. But I will probably go live at some point during this week. I'll probably go live at some point during this week. But as far as next Sunday, that's a maybe. But it's a heavy maybe. It's like there's an 80% chance. 80% chance. I'll probably try and schedule it, but yeah, it's an 80% chance. Yeah. So that's pretty much it for today's live stream. Like I said, book is in the description down below. Create something awesome. How creators are profiting from their passion in the creator economy. Get it on Amazon. Link is in the description down below. It is an Amazon affiliate link. Thank you to everybody who joined the stream. Thank you to my sponsors, my wonderful, wonderful sponsors, TubeBuddy and StreamYard for sponsoring the video. Make sure you're checking them out. Should have links for that in the description down below. So definitely a big thank you to them. And I will catch you guys next time. That's almost 4 hours. We're going to close out today. Yes, this will stay up for people to watch. This will stay up for people to watch. You'll get all 4 hours basically of this. And what we will do is we will close the stream with the commercial for my book. If you guys have not checked out the book, make sure you are checking it out, and you can review it for me in Amazon. If you already own it, please review it on Amazon. We're trying to get to 100 Amazon reviews. We have over 100 ratings already. Wonderful ratings, wonderful reviews on the book. So we're going to play the trailer for my book as we close out the show. And other than that, you guys stay awesome, and I will catch you on the next one. I finally did it. I finished my book, Create Something Awesome, How Content Creators Are Profiting from Their Passion in the Creator Economy. The book is available now in paperback and in Kindle, where you can read it on any e-reader or device. And I'm really excited about this. The audiobook is coming soon, probably October 2022. Oh my God, it's so great to be able to have this book done, put it up on the bookshelf, and to know that all of you who appreciate it, you want to hear what I have to say about the creator economy, becoming a full-time content creator, and what the experience and lifestyle of being a content creator actually is like. This is the book. I put 20 chapters in here of the most important things I think that content creators could be focusing on today. I talk about the mental health aspect of being a content creator, getting discouraged, imposter syndrome, not charging what you're worth, and mostly actionable advice around monetizing your content properly, but also how to build an audience on your authenticity and what it's really like to start from zero, even today. So if you're interested, make sure you're checking out the book. You can order it on Amazon. You also probably order it in a lot of other places like Barnes & Noble, and it will be coming to other bookstores soon. Really excited about it. Thank you for all the support and love around the book and the positive reviews. Now go ahead and pick it up, and make sure you go out there and create something awesome.